It looked like a simple jab, but to these so-called prodigies, it was a revelation that shook their very souls. Even the veteran instructor felt a chill run down his spine. Everyone held their breath. This was a martial art completely unknown to this world. Was this truly the coward they remembered before his regression? Zeke had ascended to become the continent's undisputed battle god, born into the glorious empire's dragon slayer bloodline, yet fate played a cruel joke. He awakened not as a warrior, but as a lowly healer. Denied the knight's sacred aura, he was cast out, a stain on the family honor, discarded like trash. To survive the abyss, he became a monster. He learned the harsh law of the jungle. The weak exist only to be devoured by the strong. That was the only absolute truth. Destiny intervened when he grasped a legendary ancient relic. But such power invites envy, and the entire empire hunted him like a dog. He slaughtered an army single-handedly, but the cost was high. At death's door, even his supreme healing arts could not save him now. With trembling hands, he drew the relic close. His final breath formed a name. Forgive me, Alicia. Suddenly, golden light erupted and ancient will awakened, responding to his dying wish. The ancient dragon soul sought a host with an indomitable spirit. Emergency protocol initiated. Will Zeke Draker accept this pact? Thinking it a hallucination of a dying man, he accepted without hesitation. A system window flashed, irreversible power activated. As the countdown hit 0, his eyes snapped open. He was back in the past, and reality sank in instantly. The memories flooded back. This was the hell of his childhood, the Draker family training cradle. A millennium ago, the great hero, Draker slew the evil dragon Bahamut, saving humanity from extinction. Upon that glory, the Draker clan rose as one of the 3 super families, ruling the continent with an iron fist. Their bloodline carried a divine gift. The blessing of aura flowed through their veins. For them, becoming a knight was a birthright. But Zeke, he was the sole failure, the black sheep. Suddenly, a blue interface shimmered into existence. The ancient dragon soul had fused perfectly with his essence. Information cascaded before his eyes in a stream of light. Name Zeke Draker, class healer, title heir of the ancient dragon. He froze. This magical interface could see through his very soul. Class and skill. These were archaic terms, lost to the sands of time. He recalled his master's teachings. The ancients defined power through specific classes and skills. A healer heals. But his master had a different philosophy. A dead healer heals no one. Train your body until it breaks. The system confirmed it. He was destined to walk the path of the healer once more. Pure white light radiated from his palms. It was real. In his past life, he hadn't awakened this power until he was 20. He closed his eyes, searching within. Yes, his ether channels were already blown wide open. His battle-hardened body was gone, replaced by a child's frame. But his mind remained sharp. He possessed the skills and memories of a veteran war god. To rule this second life, he needed to master every weapon in his arsenal. A shadow fell over him. It was Decker, the family butler. Young master, surely you haven't forgotten today's... Zeke stiffened. Even with the mind of a 32-year-old, the childhood terror this man inflicted was etched into his marrow. Passive skill, calm activated. Instantly, the ice in his veins melted away. His heartbeat steadied. An automatic defense mechanism, useful. Decker narrowed his eyes. Young master, are you even listening? Zeke met his gaze evenly. Of course. You refer to the pancreation evaluation, do you not? It was the crucible of the clan. Every Draker child entered at 7, enduring 5 years of hell. Pancreation. A brutal melee with 0 rules. It was how they separated the wolves from the sheep. Opponents were assigned or chosen by blood feud. In this lawless ring, broken bones were common. Even death was just a statistic. But this score determined their future rank. These children had to fight like demons, or be left behind. The scene shifts to the arena. Instructor Pan Maruk roared, "Today is the day of judgment. Prepare yourselves." The students muttered among themselves, eyeing the corner. Zeke actually showed up after that beating last year. Is he really of Draker blood? Ignoring the whispers, Aaron and Gouda stepped into the ring for the first bout. The whistle blew. Bam! Aaron launched a devastating kick, ending the match in a heartbeat. A reckless attack with no guard. Typical. As a child, These duels were the stuff of nightmares, but to his veteran eyes, it was child's play. Yet, Zeke failed to notice a pair of predatory eyes watching him from the shadows. The moment of truth has arrived. Zeke and Raven finally step into the arena to settle the score. Zeke speaks, his voice ice cold. "I am not surprised to see you standing there again, Raven. It is hardly a coincidence. Every single year, without fail, you are my opponent." Zeke knows the truth. This is a rigged game, a private arrangement made in the shadows. Zeke thinks, what a despicable cur to think he shares my bloodline. In his past life, the 4 direct heirs of the Draker clan rarely cross paths, but the branch families, they were like wolves who feasted on Zeke's weakness. Raven sneers, his arrogance palpable. "Zeke, I must applaud your stupidity. After the thrashing you took last time, you still have the guts to stand before me." The taunts fall on deaf ears. Instantly, Zeke's calming mind, skill triggers. The noise fades, replaced by absolute, icy clarity. Zeke warns, "If you think you can mock me for being lesser, you are sorely mistaken." Snapping, Raven seizes Zeke by the hair. "You won't let me off. You what could trash like you possibly do." Action. In the blink of an eye, Zeke activates direct hit. Bam! A devastating blow lands squarely on Raven's face. Zeke had planned to knock him unconscious, but his body reacted on pure instinct. The instructor cries out in disbelief. "I never gave the signal. Why did you attack?" Zeke merely shrugs, his eyes void of remorse. Is it not the first rule of combat to strike when the enemy is unprepared? The instructor freezes. This was not a child's tantrum. For a split second, he felt it pure, unadulterated killing intent radiating from a mere student. Blood trickles down Raven's face. "Instructor, start the duel," he snarls. "I am going to teach this piece of filth a lesson he will never survive." The signal drops. Raven launches forward instantly. He assumes a defensive stance, his eyes glued to Zeke's left hand, wary of another surprise attack. Zeke throws a left jab. Raven ducks under the blow, lunging in to wrap his arms around Zeke's waist, aiming for a crushing takedown. But suddenly Raven's face twists in horror. He aborts the throw and frantically scrambles backward to create distance. The instructor watches, jaw slack with amazement. That reaction speed, that pressure. Is this truly the fighting instinct of a 12-year-old boy? When Raven dodged and closed the distance, he was certain victory was in his grasp. He thought he had the upper hand. He was wrong. Zeke had instantly targeted Raven's jaw, forcing him to break the hold. Even though the strike missed, Zeke's composure was terrifying. He was already moving to the next beat. Such tremendous skill, such unbroken focus. The crowd whispers, is this truly the incompetent Zeke Draker they thought they knew? There is no escape. As Raven tries to retreat, Zeke pursues. A lightning-fast strike shatters the mobility of Raven's left leg. Desperate, Raven swings a wild haymaker, but Zeke's focused sensing is already active. He weaves through the attacks like smoke, untouched. I have regained control over my ether. Zeke realizes, it is time to end this farce. In a blur of motion, Zeke executes a flawless shoulder throw simultaneously. He activates Vital Point Strike. Crack. The sound of breaking ribs echoes through the hall. Standing over his fallen cousin, Zeke speaks coldly. Even a slow learner like you should have picked up something from a demonstration that painful. Or did you really think you had the status to look down on me? Zeke turns his gaze to the stunned audience. A sudden memory surfaces. I remember every single one of your names, he announces. Do not dare look away. If you have a problem with me, come down here and settle it. As the threat hangs in the air, a figure slowly rises from the crowd. Zeke Draker, I name you as my opponent. It is Wald, a distant cousin from the Branch family. Zeke sighs, unimpressed. Fine, but fighting you alone would be tragically boring. Zeke points a finger. You and your servant, Liam Stone, both of you come at me. Only then might this be a fair fight. Jaken's face turns crimson with rage. Are you insulting me? Zeke tilts his head. Of course I am. Was that not obvious? The instructor announces the start, but Zeke's focus shifts. As he gazes at the servant boy, memories from a past life flood his mind. Liam Stone. In the previous timeline, he was the legendary mercenary king. Originally Jaken's servant, he entered the academy only after graduating from the cradle. Because his bloodline was too dilute, The family abandoned him during the education trials. He was cast aside like refuse. He found his way to the Night Order of a small kingdom called Balin. But when Balin fell to ruin, Liam was forced to walk the bloody path of a mercenary. Through endless slaughter, he reached the master rank of Crimson Knight. He founded the Stone Mercenary Group and achieved the impossible, unifying the three great mercenary factions under one banner. Eventually, the Empire itself hired his blade. The Stone Mercenary Group became the hammer that struck during the Great Continental War. The North and the Empire were sworn enemies. In that life, Zeke and Liam met on the battlefield as foes. But this time, fate will be written differently. Reality snaps back. Jaken throws a punch, but Zeke blocks it effortlessly. "I told you clearly," Zeke says, his voice bored. "I said both of you." Jaken ignores the warning, following up with a savage kick. Crack. Agonizing pain shoots from Jaken's foot straight to his heart. While Jaken was blinded by rage, Zeke had simply raised his elbow. A perfect, iron-hard defense. Zeke vanishes and reappears right in front of him. He winds up a punch. Jaken panics, covering his face, but it's a trap. Zeke shifts instantly, stomping viciously on Jaken's already injured foot. Jaken screams. Zeke shakes his head. "You cannot even distinguish a simple feint. This is exactly why I told you to fight together. Handling you alone is barely a warm-up." In seconds, Jaken is reduced to a trembling mess, unable to fight back. Humiliated, Jaken shrieks, "Liam, kill him! Kill him for me!" The air temperature drops. Liam Stone steps forward, and a suffocating, murderous aura explodes from his body. Zeke grits his teeth against the suffocating pressure. Is this monster truly a 12-year-old child like the rest of them? He knows he cannot let Liam dictate the pace. If he loses the initiative, he loses the fight. Zeke strikes first. In a flash, after images surround Liam as Zeke unleashes a flurry of strikes. The crowd gasps in disbelief. What kind of martial art is this? Even the instructor's eyes widen. It is a technique completely foreign to their curriculum. The Central Continent worships the sword, making these ruthless northern boxing arts a rare and dangerous sight. But Zeke grimaces. His current body is frail and untrained. He cannot maintain this high-intensity assault for long. Worse yet, Liam is a natural-born monster. He blocks every strike with casual ease, his defense like an iron wall. Is this the future mercenary king? Why is he holding back? Zeke clenches his right fist, deciding to end this now. My stamina is draining fast, Zeke thinks. I must pour everything I have into one decisive blow to shatter his guard. He throws a punch loaded with devastating force, but Liam tilts his head at the last microsecond. Zeke's eyes widen in shock. That punch was infused with ether. Liam cannot see it, yet his instincts screamed at him to dodge. What terrifying intuition. Liam seizes the opening, grabbing Zeke's arm to hurl him down, but Zeke twists his body, breaking the hold with fluid precision. Activating his focus sensing skill, Zeke maneuvers behind him like a phantom, locking his limbs around Liam and sinking in a perfect rear naked choke. I've cut off the blood flow to your brain, Zeke hisses. There is no escape now. Liam thrashes wildly, throwing desperate punches backward. It becomes a brutal battle of will. Who will break first, the oxygen deprivation or the physical beating? The training hall falls silent, spectators watching with bated breath. Even the instructor breaks into a cold sweat at the sheer intensity. The struggle reaches its peak, and then silence. The thrashing stops. Liam collapses, unconscious. In the crowd, a boy watches with a sinister smile. That's more like it, he whispers. Crushing you will be truly entertaining now. Later, back at the estate, the butler, Decker, approaches. Young Master Zeke, I heard you took a beating during the pancration sparring. Allow me to check your pulse. Zeke instantly sees through the ruse. The butler is trying to verify if he has awakened his aura. Without a hint of hesitation, Zeke extends his left arm. Immediately, a surge of blue energy invades his meridians. Zeke suppresses a gasp. This energy signature. Decker is actually a blue knight. A normal inspection only scans the mana center, but Decker just swept through Zeke's entire meridian network. Injecting aura into another person requires godlike control. There is no doubt this butler is a master of the blade. In this world, knights are strictly ranked by their mastery of aura and combat lethality. At the bottom are the white swordsmen, novices who are just learning to hold a blade. Most unblessed children in the Academy the Cradle start here. Above them are the orange swordsmen, who have opened their energy centers. Once a student receives the blessing and fully awakens, they ascend to orange, gaining the ability to manipulate aura freely. Then come the purple knights, true warriors who can coat their weapons in energy. Above them stand the blue knights, wielding the potent blue aura. Beyond that lies a realm only those who transcend human limits can touch. In his previous life, both Zeke and the mercenary King Liam reached the terrifying height of the Crimson Knight. And at the very peak exists the Black Knight's legend, so rare they are practically myths across the continent. Why is a warrior capable of being a knight captain serving as a mere butler? But his probe is futile. Aura can never detect Zeke's magical ether. Decker withdraws his hand, his eyes narrowing. Young master, are you hiding something from me? Zeke doesn't flinch. Why would you think that? It seems you are the one with secrets. Decker. The butler pauses. Young master, you have changed drastically in such a short time. Zeke smirks, flipping the script. You shouldn't ask why I've changed. You should ask why I waited this long, and I will continue to evolve. I am taking back what is mine. You just need to follow my lead. Decker bows low. I understand, young master. As you requested, your private training chamber is ready. As Zeke walks away, his mind races. Is Decker a spy? I'll keep him close and drain him of information. But who holds his leash? Likely one of my ambitious siblings. Entering the training room, Zeke calls out to the empty air. Status window. A holographic screen materializes. His eyes scan the data. Several skills have jumped from novice to proficient rank. He frowns. Were these active skills always present? Will future techniques I learned manifest here as well? The interface distinguishes between professional skills and standard skills, yet they activate the same way. And then there is the Dragon Race tab. It remains grayed out, mocking him. Unlock requirement 10, achievement points. But points only drop from slaying monsters, a feat requiring at least purple knight strength. Why was I sent back to the past, and what is the true nature of this system? He stares at his skill tree, analyzing every detail. It reeks of the ancient relic's influence. Yet, the puzzle pieces remain dangerously incomplete. But power is the only truth that matters, be it the system or the Draker bloodline. I will exploit everything to ascend. Two supreme forces govern this realm. Knights channel the explosive power of aura through their Dantean centers. Mages weave mana through their rings. Two opposing forces, destined to clash in an eternal struggle. But Zeke fate mocked him. Born without a Dantean or a ring, he was discarded trash, abandoned by his kin, until a master found him in the dust. That master awakened the legend within him. The healer class. The power of ether. A lost art. Wielded only by two souls in existence. 2 hours of hellish sword drills later, Zeke's muscles scream in protest. He has hit his physical limit, but the ether hums, knitting his flesh back together instantly. Yet, this miracle must remain a shadow. To reveal it is to be branded a monster. Pain fades. Stamina returns. The grind does not stop. The scene shifts to the Cradle's mess hall. Whispers spread like poison. Zeke has changed. The atmosphere around him is alien. Is it black magic? He fought like a savage beast before, but surely true victory is out of his reach. They sneer. That weakling, he can barely hoist a blade. He is walking towards his doom. His defeated victims cling to excuses. He ordered a lighter sword. That is the only reason I lost to such trash. Pure luck, they insist. But then, a voice cuts through the noise. Rena speaks. Luck, is that what you call it? If your eyes are that blind, you are unworthy of the Draker name. Silence falls. The day of reckoning. The sword competition arrives. No wooden practice blades here. Steel meets flesh. Every year, the arena floors are stained with the blood of the fallen. It is the ultimate test of worth. Survive this, and the Draker Aura Awakening ceremony awaits in 1 month. Zeke steps into the light. In his grip, not a light blade, but a massive heavy sword drags across the stone. Standing opposite him is the prodigy, Rena. I choose you, she declares. Zeke smiles. Challenge accepted. Rena's eyes narrow. Something is off. His physique has transformed, but is there a hidden strength lurking beneath? She steadies her breath. Same tactics, same result. But Zeke feels the pressure. Cold sweat trickles down his spine. Facing the Shining Knight is no small feat. Rena is a 5-star prodigy, a legend already written in the continent's history. A monster who awakened her aura before the ceremony even began, a genius seen only once in a generation. Years have passed since that awakening. She has tempered her power, building a foundation as solid as a mountain. Yet, she refuses to use aura within the cradle. The signal drops, Rena launches a lethal thrust straight for Zeke's heart. Zeke retreats, but she is faster than sight. She materializes behind him. Bang! A devastating strike sends him ragdolling dozens of meters across the arena. Impossible, Zeke thinks. And she's a monster. The crowd roars for blood. Rena, stop toying with your food. Finish him. But a lone observer scoffs. Toying with him? Is that what your blind eyes see? Rena is hunting for a kill shot, but every time she strikes a gap, Zeke's blade is already there. A perfect defense. It isn't luck. He is baiting her, deliberately exposing flaws to control her movements. He is treating this duel like a training session clash, steel sparks against steel, and they spring apart. Rena gasps for air. Zeke grins internally. So, this is the limit of the Shining Knight. Her basics are flawless, but they are a cage. She is trapped by tradition. Time to shatter that cage. Zeke drops his stance low. He is charging and Rena sneers. She is confident her speed reigns supreme. Too slow. Zeke is already in her face. The heavy sword descends like a guillotine. Rena snaps sideways, barely evading the crushing blow. Distance, she thinks. I just need distance. Suddenly, Zeke's foot kicks up a cloud of sharp debris. Stones pelt her eyes. Her guard falters for a split second. That is all he needed. The blade stops inches from her neck, but instinctively, Rena explodes with aura, blasting the weapon from his grip. The sword clatters to the dust. The crowd erupts in cheers. Zeke lost. The Shining Knight reigns supreme without even using aura, but the instructor's face is dark as the grave. The fools didn't see it, but in that fraction of a second, when death knocked on her door, she used it. A pulse of aura. Rena broke her sacred vow to never rely on that power within these walls. Her honor is stained. But Zeke isn't done. He steps in, his fist flying straight for her throat. Rena crashes to her knees, clutching her throat in agony. Witnessing this, the crowd erupts in outrage. This was supposed to be a noble sword duel. We cannot accept Zeke's use of such wretched, underhanded tactics. For a knight to lose their sword is the ultimate disgrace. By all rights, the victor should be Rena. Yet Zeke dismisses their honor with a cold sneer. Isn't survival the only victory that matters? Zeke looms over her, his voice devoid of warmth as he asks, "Do you wish to continue?" Rena grits her teeth, retorting, "I haven't lost. I merely lowered my guard and gave you an opening." But the chilling truth strikes her heart. If that hand had held a dagger instead of empty fingers, she would already be a corpse. A moment of silence passes before Rena announces to the world, "I have lost." The declaration leaves the spectators frozen in utter disbelief. Just days ago, the family deemed Zeke absolute trash. Yet today, he has crushed Rena, the very genius they placed on a pedestal. While the shock of his victory ripples through the entire cradle, Zeke retreats into the shadows of the training room, pushing his body to the limit. Alone at last, he summons his status window. Just as expected, his proficiency has skyrocketed to expert rank. The quick-step skill he acquired during the competition 1 month ago has already evolved to the skilled tier, sensing a presence. Zeke speaks to the door behind him. "Decker, to what do I owe this visit?" The loyal butler bows, replying, "Young master, preparations are complete. We are ready to depart." Elsewhere, a dark-haired man paces anxiously, asking, "Abel, how can you calmly sip tea at a time like this? That kid, Zeke, actually defeated Rena." But Abel replies with terrifying nonchalance, "Don't worry so much. You always take things too seriously. Besides, it has been an eternity since I returned to the family estate, and I wonder what fascinating abilities our little brother will awaken. I admit, I am burning with curiosity." The scene shifts as Zeke boards the carriage, wheels turning toward the ancient ancestral city. The Draker family's ancestral seat lies within the Duchy of Troy, while their power center commands the four-season city of Middleland. However, the sacred blessing ceremony can only be held in the ancestral city, the very birthplace of the Dragon Slayer legend. Moments later, Zeke arrives at the heart of the Draker legacy, the Dragon's Lair. Looking upon the scene before him, a flicker of surprise crosses Zeke's face. The guests gathered here are titans usually seen only in continental newspapers, and surely, the main family has sent spies to keep a close watch on me. Whatever their motives, once they realize I cannot awaken, their guard will drop. But suddenly, Zeke's expression twists into pure fury. How can that monster be here in the distance? Abel stands charming the nobles. He claims he came to witness the ceremony for his adorable brother, the second son of the Draker family, known to the world as the Lion Sword, Abel Draker. But Zeke, retaining the memories of his past life, knows a different name suits him far better, the Slaughter Knight. Zeke forces his trembling rage down, knowing he is powerless for now. He remembers clearly in his previous life, Abel never attended this ceremony. Could his own actions have rippled through time and altered the future? Perhaps. Perhaps this life offers a new opportunity. Meanwhile, the blessing ceremony officially commences. The first candidate, Aaron, steps forward. He plunges his hand into the sacred water and slices his palm. In an instant, blue energy erupts around him, swirling before condensing into his dantian. Every blood relative of Draker must endure this ritual to forcefully open their dantian and awaken their aura upon graduating from the cradle at age 12. Next to approach the altar is Rena. In rare instances, a miracle occurs, awakening aura alongside the legendary Dragon Slayer trait, Hinder Mana. Suddenly, the mana lamp flashes a violent red. The spectators go wild with excitement. This signifies a pure blood awakening, a potential that could reach the level of a Crimson Knight, or even the legendary Black Knight. The instructor immediately signals for the attendants to bring to the containment gloves. Because of the volatile Hinder Mana trait, she cannot live a normal life without these specially enchanted restraints. Having proven her lineage, she claims the Draker name and its immense privileges. Just then, Zeke slowly ascends the platform for the awakening ceremony. The crowd buzzes with electric anticipation. This is the boy who defeated Rena. He must surely possess a pure blood awakening. But Zeke stares blankly at the scene, lost in the currents of time. I never thought I would stand before this damn bronze statue again. In his previous life, he survived the hellish cradle only to become the first awakening failure in the history of the Draker family. But this time, everything will be different. Not only does he possess the power to heal, but he can also manipulate the mysterious ether. More importantly, he climbed here through sheer will. So this time, answer me, you damn bronze statue. Silence. The statue remains lifeless. The spectators are paralyzed with shock, and even Abel's playful expression hardens into something grave. This has never happened before, Abel thinks. So that is the reality. I should never have placed any hope in him. It is all that person's fault for giving me unnecessary expectations. The crowd erupts in disbelief. There is absolutely no sign of awakening. How could a direct descendant be this incompetent? He is nothing but a stain on the family's honor. But just then, a blue system notification materializes before Zeke's eyes. Critical system error. Processing delayed due to unrecognized class data in the verification matrix. Analysis complete. The system verifies the user's class as Healer. Profession confirmed. But in the next heartbeat, a blinding crimson light erupts from the bronze statue. The spectators gasp in absolute horror. That red light. It signifies the awakening of a legendary pure blood, yet Zeke assumes a basic defensive stance. Witnessing this, Aliel is left trembling with shock and burning curiosity. Why did Zeke choose to defend? With that power, he could have decimated his opponent. Aliel's instincts scream that Zeke is suppressing his true strength, his dormant power. It lies far beyond the realm of measurement. Just after Aliel defeats both Zeke and Reyna with a single sword strike, Duke's voice cuts through the tension. You certainly didn't hold back against another's disciples. Duke approaches with a smirk. Greetings, Wind Knight. You are as frigid as ever. I see. Duke's eyes narrow. Tell me, after that spar, what is your assessment of my student? Aliel offers no immediate reply. Instead, he sinks into a deep abyss of contemplation. Why did the boy refuse to fight back? Was victory never his objective? Was this merely a ploy to skip grades? Zeke had hidden his fangs. Did he fear revealing the true extent of his monstrous power? Finally, Aliel breaks his silence. Zeke Draker. His potential exists in a dimension I cannot calculate. The scene shifts. The principal stamps his seal of approval on Zeke and Reyna's grade advancement. With zero objections from the faculty, destiny accelerates. Zeke ascends to the 5th grade, while Reyna advances to the 3rd. Following this, Zeke chooses the path of shadows to avoid unnecessary trouble. He conceals his brilliance, living as a ghost within the academy. Duke passes down his wind technique. Andre inherits Zeke's former position, while Zeke maintains a cordial alliance with Pennon. However, fate is fickle. Pennon is recruited by the Delphi Royal Magic Research Institute and departs, causing their bond to slowly dissolve into memory. Notably, from that day forward, Zeke severed all ties with the other powerhouse families. Yet, there was one exception. Every quarter, Aliel would hunt Zeke down, demanding a duel to test his steel. Then, as if an epiphany struck him, Zeke filed for a leave of absence to cultivate his power. And just like that, 2 years vanished in the blink of an eye. The present day, Zeke has successfully conquered the Academy's curriculum. Decker trembles with excitement. The youngest graduate of Valhalla, the family head will be bursting with pride. After all, a personal letter of recommendation from the principal, that is a glory unheard of. Zeke turns to his loyal servant, his voice calm but absolute. Decker, we still have 3 months before the enrollment ceremony. Return to the Atlas territory ahead of me. I require solitude to rest. I will tolerate no disturbances. Do you understand? As you command, Decker obeys without hesitation, but Zeke's destination is the perilous cow ruins within the giant mountains. He plans to infiltrate via the Argus Kingdom's Adventurer Guild. Driven by caution, Zeke refuses to let a single soul know his true objective. Suddenly, a shadow falls. Liam kneels reverently before him. Lord Zeke Draker, greetings. Zeke sighs, turning around. Liam, how many times must I say it? This formality is suffocating. Liam bows lower. Young master, I shall take my leave then. Zeke stops him. Hold on. I used the black card to settle matters with the Valhalla Academy. Liam blinks, confused. Did you summon me for a specific purpose, my lord? Zeke smiles. Naturally. I heard you qualified for the special class. As your liege, I cannot simply stand by and watch. From predicted exam questions to advanced training manuals, I have compiled the ultimate guide for you. Take this token to Fabular's blacksmith shop. They will equip you with everything you need. Furthermore, since you are now a 4th year, I have commissioned a blade worthy of your hand. Liam, I possess absolute faith that you can keep pace with my footsteps. Do not falter. I trust you will not bring shame to my name. Hearing these words, Liam's soul trembles. Tears well in his eyes as he vows, I will push beyond my limits. I shall never betray your expectations, my lord. Zeke nods, satisfied. Good. Show me the fruits of your resolve. The Argus Kingdom, situated at the frozen northern edge, it stands alongside Delphi, Tabia, and Alangia as one of the 4 great powers of the continent. The giant mountains serve as the brutal boundary between civilization and the realm of magical beasts. It is a land honeycombed with dungeons of every rank. Adventurers seeking fame and fortune flock to these mountains like moths to a flame. The first king of Argus built his empire on this blood. He connected the dungeons to the economy, forging the nation's backbone from the adventure industry. With the royal family's backing, the chaotic giant mountains were tamed. The region was carved into hundreds of sectors, with secure supply lines and outpost fortresses established. This was the genesis of the Argus Adventurer Guild, a power that now spans the entire world. Zeke steps up to the counter, registering under the alias Zeke Meyer, a necessary disguise. The name Draker carries too much weight in this world. To use his noble identity here would only invite disaster. He grips his weapon. Now, let the treasure hunt begin. Moments later, Zeke secures passage on a carriage bound for the colossal mountains. Finding a seat during peak season, a rare stroke of luck. But peace is short-lived. A sticky voice slides from the shadows. Hey there, little brother. First time adventuring? You're shaking like a leaf. Is this your first dungeon run? A blonde man sidles up with a predator's grin. It's dangerous out there. Why not party up with us for safety? Of course. He thumps his chest. Don't let our looks fool you. We're seasoned veterans. Go alone, and you're just fresh meat for the monsters. Zeke's eyes gleam cold. He sees right through their cheap act instantly. It is the oldest trick in the book, using rookies as live bait for traps or selling them to slave merchants. Zeke ignores the trash, silencing them with a sharp, dismissive gesture. He strides past them to the coachmen, his voice calm but commanding. 500 meters back, left flank, monsters incoming. Likely half-orcs. Prepare yourself. The coachman scoffs, looking puzzled. Kid, are you dreaming how this route is a designated safe zone? The blonde scammer bursts into laughter, mocking Zeke's warning. Do you even know where you are? This is the guild's main artery, managed directly by the kingdom. Even wild beasts fear to tread here, let alone monsters. Zeke doesn't blink. If there are no monsters, then what is that breathing down your neck? Crash. In a heartbeat, a massive club obliterates the carriage. Hell breaks loose. Screams erupt as half-orcs swarm the supposed safe zone. Have the outpost fallen? Zeke's mind races as he analyzes the chaos. This is far more complex than a random raid. Even the Argus soldiers, surely a regiment of that size could handle mere beasts. Zeke inspects a fallen soldier amidst the carnage. His eyes narrow. These wounds. This wasn't done by a monster. Clean cuts. Surgical precision. This was the work of humans. If a beast attacked, the bodies would be torn, not sliced. Instant kills. The soldiers didn't even have time to draw their blades. Absolute suppression. Regrettable, but staying here invites trouble. Zeke vanishes into the shadows. His priority remains unchanged. The Kilu ruins. Moments later, he crosses into barbarian territory. The tactical map pings. He has reached the perimeter of the Kilu ruins, but his blood runs cold. Imperial hounds here. Shadow assassins raised in the Empire's darkest pits. Masters of tracking and slaughter. They are the Emperor's personal executioners. To the world, they are a myth, known only to the highest brass. But Zeke knows the truth. They are the harbingers of the Empire's coming war. Through his map, Zeke tracks their positions like fireflies in the dark. He remembers the cold bite of their steel from his past life. Duke was right. The Mad Emperor's obsession knows no bounds. Even before Zeke's rebirth, that tyrant was consumed by the hunt for ancient relics. Unity wasn't enough. Under the guise of conquest, he seeks the forbidden fruit. Immortality. Have they already breached the Kilu ruins? Zeke moves, a blur of motion, time to verify. Ahead, a hound raises a hand, preparing to fire a signal flare. Slash. Zeke's blade sings, and the hand flare and all falls to the earth before the trigger is pulled. Zeke looms over the assassin. You have the aura of a leader, yet only 3 of you are here, just the perimeter guard. Standard protocol dictates a 12-man cell. The assassin tries to deflect, demanding Zeke's identity, but Zeke offers no words. Schlick. The head rolls. You seem confused. Zeke whispers to the corpse. I am the one asking questions. Think carefully. Whoever answers first earns the mercy of a quick death. Scene shift. Zeke infiltrates their temporary base. The stench of blood confirms it. These assassins butchered the kingdom's outpost to cover their tracks. Searching for the ruins. Are we? Zeke grips his hilt. Let's pay them a visit. The hounds stand guard, bored and complacent, cursing their assignment in this barbarian wasteland. Thwip, thwip. 2 bodies hit the floor before they can even blink. Inside the cave, a voice perks up. Did you hear something at the entrance? Too late. Zeke is already there, his blade painting the walls red in a single stroke. A memory flashes through Zeke's mind, triggered by the carnage. The 5-year war, the exhaustion, the suicide mission to Pavilla Carter. It smelled just like this. The enemy leader steps forward, analyzing Zeke's stance, Southern Assassin Arts McKean style, or perhaps Pavala. It matters not. You've walked into your grave. Surrender now, and I'll make it painless. Zeke almost laughs. Compared to the hounds I knew in my past life, this guy is barely a green rank novice. He raises his sword, eyes burning with contempt. A quick death. How gracious of you. Shouldn't you tear me apart to avenge your fallen brothers? If that's how you want to play, then let me show you how to truly tear someone to pieces. The air explodes as they clash. Zeke stood amidst the chaos, confusion clouding his gaze. Was this truly the best the hounds could offer? Were they simply that pathetic? Or had his own strength transcended logical bounds? Unimpressed by their mediocre performance, Zeke triggered his magic reflection. In a heartbeat, every light source in the vicinity was extinguished, plunging the world into abyssal darkness. Panic surged through the soldiers. Could this be the legendary Hinder Mana of a Dragon Slayer? Impossible. This monster had fought barehanded from the start, without a shred of aura. That stance. It was the ruthless Southern short sword technique. He was an assassin. Realizing the morale shift, the squad leader roared, "Hold your ground. Focus on defense. The lights will return shortly." But when illumination finally flooded the room, the soldiers were met with a nightmare forged in blood. The leader's eyes widened in sheer disbelief at the carnage. From the shadows, Zeke's cold voice sliced through the silence. "Your emperor is a bold one," Zeke mocked, daring to covet the ancient Kaio ruins. The leader feigned ignorance, his voice trembling. What are you talking about?" Zeke merely smirked. "Save your breath. Your silence changes nothing. I will find it myself." With a swift motion, Zeke ended him in the dark. The scene shifts. He discarded the short sword, deliberately planting evidence to frame the infamous McKen organization. McKen Kutel. In Zeke's past life, this was the very syndicate he had sworn allegiance to. They were a massive underworld empire, mercenaries who would sell their own souls for enough gold. After the southern continent's Cusco kingdom fell to civil war, McKen and Pavila ruled these lawless zones, while Zeke could have used his dragon race skills to hide. Utilizing the southern short sword technique and leaving Nick McKen's signature calling card was the perfect diversion. The Empire would undoubtedly blame the southern K-Ruddle faction. If the Imperial forces moved to crush McKen over this incident, it would be the perfect chaotic cover for Zeke. However, if the intelligence in these intercepted letters held true, the Emperor was far more deranged than Zeke had ever calculated. The Imperial decree was absolute locate the ancient ruins at any cost. What truly chilled Zeke was the battle map. It didn't just cover the central continent, it marked the eastern continent's ceasefire zones and even the uncharted Dark Sea. The Emperor had already scattered his hounds across every corner of the world where a ruin might lie hidden. While the hounds' combat strength matched Zeke's memories, it seemed they had not yet located the Ku ruins. Suddenly, a crimson streak tore through the sky. Zeke's eyes narrowed. That signal flare? Could it be the dreaded Sky and Earth net? Recognizing the formation, Zeke abandoned the outpost instantly. He had to move. Now. Damn it, he cursed. They reacted faster than expected. The red flare commanded an inescapable search pattern sweep from the center outward. Once the target is found, the noose tightens. Every hound in the sector would relentlessly follow this protocol until the order was rescinded. Seeing that execution order was like staring into the face of a guaranteed death sentence. In his previous life, Zeke had stolen a northern relic desired by the Emperor, only to be hunted down and brutally slaughtered by this very Sky and Earth net. But this time was different. He possessed the system. He swung his short sword with lethal precision, using flash steps to create distance. His instincts were right. These elites were leagues above the trash he had slaughtered in the cave. The hounds closed in, encircling him with practiced efficiency. This was becoming a catastrophic problem. He could easily shatter their formation with his true power, but doing so would destroy his carefully crafted disguise as a McKen operative. He had no choice. It was a gamble, but necessary. Without hesitation, Zeke drew a breath and blew a sharp, piercing whistle. The hounds froze, heads snapping around. Damn it, does the assassin have reinforcements? Seizing their momentary hesitation, Zeke slammed a smoke bomb into the ground, vanishing into the gray haze. The squad leader barked, "Do not panic." He cannot escape the net return to formation. Watch the shadows for unnatural movement. Yet, as seconds ticked by, silence reigned. The leader frowned, confusion gnawing at him. No movement, nothing. Does he think blinding us will save him? As the leader pondered the meaning of that whistle, a massive shadow suddenly eclipsed him. What the? The leader gasped, horror seizing his heart. Barbarians. Damn it, why is a war party attacking us en masse? We haven't provoked the tribes. Engaging them now, with our forces spread thin, is suicide. Terrified, the leader fired the retreat flare. Withdraw the Sky and Earth net. All units, evacuate immediately. Moments later, the dust settled, and Zeke emerged from his burrow. I didn't expect that to work so perfectly. The barbarian horn, a crude tool designed for instant communication in the heat of chaotic warfare. In his past life, Zeke shared a blood bond with the Morgan tribe, who taught him their signals. The note he just played screamed, "Outsiders have trampled the sacred mother's land." Though the Empire viewed them as uncivilized savages, the tribes possessed a proud, distinct civilization rich with tradition. "A pity," Zeke mused, looking at the instrument. "These crude horns shatter after a single cry. Now that the pests are gone, let us search for the true ruins." Moments later, Zeke stood before the ancient entrance. Standing before him is a nightmare made flesh, a dragon species twisted by corruption. According to the mini-map, the entrance lies directly beneath this beast. Zeke queries the system. "Can you breach this seal?" The answer is immediate. Affirmative. The ancient barrier dissolves, revealing the path to the Hero King's tomb. But the Guardian awakens. The corrupted dragon lets out a roar that shakes the very foundations of the ruins. Zeke clicks his tongue. So much for a stealthy entrance. He shifts into his combat stance. Dragon slaying method activated. In a heartbeat, he charges toward the gate. He unleashes swift wind step. His body becomes a blur, weaving through the monster's chaotic strikes with impossible speed. His strategy is precise, use shadowless footwork to fracture the beast's line of sight, then make a desperate dash for the threshold. Success seems imminent, but the dragon snaps its maw open. With a thunderous crash, jaws snap shut, missing him by a fraction of an inch. Steel sings as Zeke draws his blade mid-stride. Dragon slaying method. Chapter 7, Section 1. A graceful silhouette descends from the heavens with a single, fluid motion. Zeke forcibly severs the creature's head. Hissing sounds erupt. It's acidic blood. Zeke triggers his regenerative factors instantly. Acidic blood. And multiple heads regenerating. The realization hits him like a truck. Could this be the nine-headed Hydra? The very monster his master struggled to fell in a past life? Let's test your limits then. The clash intensifies, but the grim truth reveals itself. His dragon-slaying arts are dealing 0 damage. In this era, true dragons are extinct. This abomination is merely a pale, twisted imitation of the draconic race. That is why the technique fails. The dragon-slaying art was designed for kings, not mongrels. It doesn't matter how many times his blade bites deep, the flesh knits together in seconds, mocking his efforts. Zeke calculates the odds. Victory is impossible with his current power level. The gate is only 30 meters away. He barks a command to the system window. Seal the entrance. Slowly, the massive stone doors begin to grind shut. It is do or die. Zeke channels every ounce of mana. Dragon slaying application combined with the Galep ultimate technique. A massive wave of sword energy erupts. He uses the explosion as cover, sprinting for the closing gap to escape. But the beast has the instincts of a predator. It locks onto his movement and lunges with feral desperation. Zeke reaches the threshold, but he is a fraction of a second too slow. Jaws clamp down, crushing his arm in a gruesome spray of blood. Momentum swings violently as the monster drags him back into the abyss. Damn it! It followed him past the threshold. You want this arm so badly, take it. With cold resolve, Zeke brings his blade down on his own limb. He severs the connection, blood sprays, but he is free. He triggers his regeneration, and bone and flesh knit back together instantly. The beast isn't done. It exhales a cloud of virulence. Persistent pest, Zeke counters, severing another neck in a flash of steel. But his stamina is bottoming out. Facing the final head, Zeke gambles everything on his lineage. Dragon Clan skill. Dragon's majesty. If you don't want to be carved into ribbons, be gone. An archaic, overwhelming pressure descends. The monster freezes, its primal instincts screaming in absolute terror. Terror overrides hunger. The beast turns tail and scrambles into the darkness. Zeke blinks. I didn't think the majesty of a true dragon would cow a mongrel. Damn, I should have led with that. But something is wrong. His infinite stamina is active. So why does his body feel like lead? Is it the poison? Suddenly, a blue system window materializes before his eyes. Success. You have extracted fear from the heart of the corrupted dragon species. Do you wish to activate dragon species domination to subjugate this entity, drawing out the fear in its heart? Was this the hidden effect of Dragon's majesty all along? To own such a monster, it is a wild scenario Zeke had never dreamed of. Just as he prepares to accept the prompt, the system denies him authority insufficient. Subjugation failed. Zeke stares blankly at the screen. You have got to be kidding me. Though, logic returns, it makes sense. A skill that broken must have heavy restrictions. Suddenly, agony erupts in his veins, warning hydrotoxin levels have exceeded critical limits. What's worse? His regeneration cannot purge the toxin. Zeke's mind races. Wait. The gluttony skill. If he can assimilate it, the Hydra's blood is poison itself. Therefore, consuming it should theoretically force his body to adapt. It is the only way to survive. No time for hesitation. Zeke activates gluttony and feasts on the severed head. System windows cascade before his eyes. You have devoured the corrupted dragon head. Absorption successful. Gluttony proficiency increased beginner to proficient. Note: constitution incomplete due to partial absorption. New attribute acquired poison immunity. Strength surges. Zeke slams his fist down as the toxin dissolves. He has evolved. His intuition was razor sharp. He immediately pulled up his status window to confirm. Immunity to all poisons. It doesn't just block toxins. It devours them to strengthen his own resistance. To think absorbing specific creatures could evolve the skill level? Unexpected. This is valuable intel. But enough analysis. He had already wasted too much precious time. I need to move. Now. The Hero King. A legendary hybrid born from the union of the Great Sage and the Elf King. But legends are often forged in tragedy. A dark conspiracy tore him from his parents at birth. Abandoned and alone, he was raised by a solitary sacred wolf. Years later, he shattered the chains of oppression and built the human kingdom of Kronos in the central continent, a myth known to every child in the realm. Yet, as centuries passed, history faded into folklore. No physical proof remained to validate the legend. Until now. The undeniable ruins of the kingdom of Kronos stood right before Zeke's eyes. Though smaller than the storybooks claimed, the energy was unmistakable. To think the Hero King's lost ruins were actually the fallen capital of Kronos itself. The atmosphere here, it reeks of ancient power. It feels exactly like the Dragon Slayer's resting place. Guided by the system, Zeke cracked the seal on the gate leading deeper into the ruins. In a flash of light, a massive crystal materialized before him. Is this the Hero King's secret technique? Suddenly, a crimson warning blocked his vision. Quest initiated inheritance of the Hero King. Warning, you are bound to this location until the quest is complete. Slam. The heavy gate behind Zeke locked tight. It was a chain quest. Objective: master the true teachings of the Hero King within the ruins. Time limit infinite. Reward: the tears of the Elf King. Zeke froze, his heart pounding. The reward was a legendary artifact. Suddenly, the ground erupted. A dungeon worm lunged from the shadows. Zeke's instincts screamed as he parried the blow and leaped back. Even the Green Knight fears these abominations. They don't just move across the ground, they devour the earth itself. If he fails to complete the task, this ruin becomes his permanent grave. Man and monster clashed in a flurry of violence. Zeke's blade danced, carving wounds into the beast, but the damage was superficial. He needed more power. He wound up for a decisive strike, but the floor shattered beneath him. This damn worm! Zeke drove his sword down, but the creature was too fast. Its massive body coiled around him, crushing the air from his lungs. Meanwhile, Liam was closing in on their position. Back in the fight, Zeke felt the bone-crushing pressure suddenly vanish. He slipped free in an instant. Liam, what kind of magic did you just use? Liam smirked, blade dripping. Just a little chemistry. I coated my sword in anesthetic. Specifically, belladonna. It merely numbs the human, but for a worm, it's a lethal neurotoxin. To identify the counter attribute in the heat of battle. This guy's adaptability is terrifying. Zeke nodded in approval. As expected, your reputation for sharp judgment wasn't an exaggeration, Liam. Bringing you into the fold was the right call. Listen closely. When I give the signal, drive your blade deep. Zeke moved like lightning, slashing open the worm's defenses. Liam now. Without hesitation, Liam thrust his poisoned blade into the open wound. The beast howled, a sound of pure agony. Zeke channeled his energy. Ether soul arts. A shadow flashed through the air. The giant worm was cleaved cleanly in half. Victory notifications flooded his vision. Hidden quest complete. Reward double points. 2 random boxes acquired. Current score 780 points. Meanwhile, back at the academy, Judgment Day had arrived. Survival alone grants 30 points. The instructor tallied the monster heads. Reina Thun, total score 180 points. The class gasped. Purebloods are monsters, as expected of the Thun family. She crushed the passing line of 130. Next, Owen of the G-Man's family, total score 120 points, well above the passing score of 70. Remarkable. But Owen stood there, seething. Reina Thun, enjoy your pedestal while you can. If I can't beat her, I'll just remove her, just like I disposed of Zeke. But suddenly, a voice cut through the tension. Ah, fresh air. Been a while. The students screamed in terror. Is that a dungeon worm? Wait, aren't those high-tier monsters? They actually hunted a dungeon worm alive? Owen's face went pale as a sheet. Zeke stepped forward, a cold smirk on his lips. What's the matter? Not happy to see me? Owen trembled, unable to speak. Zeke's eyes narrowed. That's right. Fear suits you much better. Humiliated and terrified, Owen turned and fled. Owen seethed with jealousy, his thoughts dark and venomous. Damn you, pure blood. I swear I will make you pay 1,000 times over. But his internal rage is cut short as Instructor Andre steps forward to begin the final grading. Andre's voice is cold as steel. Since I am the one overseeing this evaluation, do not even dream of getting away with deception or cheap tricks. Did the beast devour the other trophies? Zeke confirms the grim reality. Because of the dungeon worm's ambush, every head he collected over the past 3 days has been lost to its stomach. To pass this exam, the students had no choice but to drag back the massive head of the dungeon worm itself as proof of their survival. Only an expert like Andre could analyze the microscopic skin residue caught between the beast's teeth with such precision. A heavy silence falls as Andre finally completes his inspection. From the traces I found, Andre announces, this creature consumed goblins, hellhounds, half-orcs, and even mountain spirits. The revelation hits the crowd like a physical blow. The students are paralyzed with shock. Mountain spirits. Those monsters are calamities in their own right, Andre continues. Judging by the quantity, it ate dozens of monsters. However, counting them all would break the scoring system. I will calculate points based on one monster of each type. Mountain spirits and dungeon worms aren't even on the standard rubric, but I will value a mountain spirit as equal to 3 half-orcs and the worm as 6. The calculation comes to 90 and 180 points respectively. Your total score is 368. You pass. A wave of disbelief crashes over the students. 368 points. It sounds like a hallucination. All they see is a single dungeon worm head, yet the score is astronomical. But deep down, everyone realizes that arguing is futile. The pressure radiating from Zeke is undeniable. If they had faced a dungeon worm or a mountain spirit, survival would have been a miracle, let alone victory. Is Zeke really this terrifyingly powerful? The atmosphere shifts. Their gaze upon Zeke transforms from skepticism to awe. However, while the recognition feels good, Zeke knows he has drawn dangerous attention to himself. Zeke's mind races. He suspects the Jimin family tampered with the exam dungeon specifically to eliminate him. Was this Owen's doing? No. Owen lacks the authority to pull strings on this level. It must be someone higher up in the Jim lineage. Zeke realizes he has stepped into a much larger crosshair than he anticipated. Fine, he thinks. I'll play their little game for now. Suddenly, Rena approaches him, her voice quiet but firm. You won this time. Zeke is left bewildered by her cryptic words. What is she implying? Dismissing the thought, he heads straight to the training grounds a moment later. It is time to cash in his rewards. He spends 50 points to unlock a new ability, Gluttony. Instantly, the system window flashes, displaying the skill's terrifying potential. Skill Gluttony. In this state, all consumed organic matter is completely converted into pure energy. Passive effect. Consuming magical creatures with bloodline traits allows for the absorption of their intrinsic abilities. Zeke realizes he can now steal monster skills simply by eating them. A pang of regret strikes him. He should have unlocked this before the exam. But regarding the energy conversion, he needs to test its limits immediately. Zeke holds a piece of meat. Suddenly, a pitch-black shadow erupts from him, devouring the food in an instant. The darkness swirls beneath his feet like a living entity. It is like watching matter sink into a bottomless swamp. The meat vanishes into the shadow, and instantly, a surge of power floods his veins. The effect is miraculous. Not only does his mental fatigue vanish, but his physical exhaustion and depleted ether are fully restored in a heartbeat. This is a game changer. Amazing, Zeke whispers. With gluttony, he can negate the side effects of his high-risk techniques. Brain fatigue, cured by gluttony. Physical limits, non-existent thanks to unlimited stamina. He creates a perpetual loop where he can train without sleep or food breaks. Just then, his servant Dekka interrupts with urgent news. Young master, the blacksmith has finished. Your sword is ready. Zeke wastes no time and arrives at the blacksmith's workshop. He holds the weapon in his hands, inspecting every inch of the steel. To the untrained eye, it looks rough and unpolished. Zeke asks, "Did you intentionally leave it untempered?" Galleon, the blacksmith, nods solemnly. "This is the sword's true, original form." "So, you believe this raw state is most suitable for me?" Zeke asks. "Without a doubt." Galleon confirms, his eyes shining with understanding. Zeke smirks internally. Anyone else would call this garbage. But Galleon has seen through to the core of Zeke's fighting style. Galleon speaks slowly, his voice trembling slightly. "This blade, it has no name yet. I tried to name it, but my mind went blank every time. Why don't you bestow a name upon it yourself?" In his past life, Galleon had named this the Sword of Light, but now destiny has shifted, and the blade refuses the old title. Zeke realizes this isn't just a Sword of Light disguised by a dragon fang. This has evolved into something entirely different, a weapon of unique origin. Without hesitation, Zeke slices his own arm, deliberately pausing his regenerative healing factor to let the blood flow. He holds his arm over the blade, letting his life force drip onto the cold steel. Galleon watches in stunned silence. Is he performing the ancient sword naming ceremony? It is a lost dwarven tradition. The warrior allows the weapon to taste blood infused with their specific aura and magic to forge a soul bond. During this ritual, the wielder falls into a deep trance, their consciousness drifting until the sword reveals its true name. They wander through the infinite void of time. Galleon is baffled. How does a human student know a ritual that even dwarves have forgotten? Meanwhile, Zeke is already deep within his inner world, his mind wandering through a cosmos of potential titles, searching for the one true resonance. Suddenly, a colossal silhouette manifests in the void. A massive black dragon circles him, its presence overwhelming. The name echoes like thunder, the Black Sword, Bahamut. System notification: Black Sword Bahamut has been registered as your soul weapon. Zeke is stunned. The name belongs to the legendary evil dragon of myths. Returning to reality, Zeke bandages his arm and calmly explains, "I stumbled upon this ritual while researching ancient dwarven history texts." Galleon stares at him for a long moment before speaking slowly. "Please, rest for a moment. There is one more thing I need to entrust to you." Meanwhile, Zeke stares at his left hand, his mind racing with tactical possibilities. To pause a skill mid-activation, that is a game-changing discovery. With this ace up his sleeve, he can hide his true limits from powerhouses like the Duke. Subtlety is his greatest weapon. There is no need to show his hand just yet, but for now, his attention shifts to the weapon before him, the Black Sword, Bahamut. Its special ability, indestructible. It possesses the terrifying power to devour other energies and convert them into pure aura. A weapon currently sealed, waiting for its master to grow. A seal that unlocks based on the user's potential, even in his past life. He had never heard of such a legendary mechanism. Crafted from the fangs of a dragon and possessing eternal durability, this weapon is simply defying common sense. But the crown jewel is its conversion ability. Zeke had moved heaven and earth to build that magic furnace, all for this specific moment. It wasn't just for Galleon's forging skills. It was to imbue the blade with the Grammar Core's ultimate function, the power to turn any energy into a weaponized aura. In his previous life, this was the very blade that forged the legend of Zeke, the Red Knight. Moments later, Galleon returns, finally clutching the item he had been searching for. His eyes widen in absolute disbelief as he stammers, This is actual aura, pure energy manifesting around the blade. Your strength has already surpassed the level of a purple knight." Trembling, he hands a scabbard to Zeke. "Take this. It was crafted by my master himself, Golan Yaber." Golan Yaber. The name alone commands respect as the greatest blacksmith in history. He stood at the pinnacle of the dwarven race. Every artifact he created was a masterpiece, imbued with functions that defied magic itself. Zeke looks up, genuinely surprised. You were actually the apprentice of that legend. If Golan forged this, it is no ordinary sheath. Just turn the knob at the throat, Galleon explains. It instantly transforms into a defensive shield. Forged from mithril and the bone of a flying dragon, it can withstand almost any standard attack. Consider it a gift. But Zeke hesitates. The scabbard looks far too small for the massive Bahamut, but then magic happens. In the blink of an eye, the scabbard expands. It reshapes itself, fitting the giant black sword with absolute perfection. Truly, Golan's craftsmanship is beyond the realm of imagination. Scene change, alone again. Zeke inspects the rewards in his hands. Meteorite iron. This is a priceless material. He checks the gauntlet stats. Gauntlets forged from fallen stars. Collect the complete meteorite iron set to awaken a unique hidden ability. And to think, this came from a random box reward. He expected a simple potion or gold. He never imagined he would pull a treasure of this caliber. Time for the second box. Zeke flips the lid, but confusion washes over him. What is this? He pulls out a weathered piece of parchment. A system notification flashes before his eyes. You have obtained the map of Hero King Caesar. Hero King Caesar and the Knights of the Clock Tower. It is the most famous epic on the continent. It tells the tale of a hero building the civilized nation of Kronos. But to most, it is just a fairy tale, absurd myths with zero historical proof. Zeke's eyes narrow. I never thought the Hero King actually existed. The legends are real. He analyzes the terrain on the parchment. These are the giant mountains and the barbarian domain. This might be easier to track down than he anticipated. Suddenly, a system window materializes. User level analysis complete. Novice tutorial ended. The system locks onto the item in his hand. Hidden scenario unlocked. Hero King Caesar's legacy. Objective: explore the relic site and discover the Hero King's secret technique. Time limit none. Reward: junior authority upgraded to intermediate authority. Zeke smirks. So, the tutorial was just to calibrate the system. Now when the real game begins. I'll take every reward you have. Without hesitation, Zeke dumps his points to unlock the second stage of his dragon race skills. Skills acquire dragon scale armor and dragon claw. The cost, 80 points each. Zeke unlocks them both instantly, leaving him with 400 points remaining. Let's test the offensive power first. He unleashes a single claw strike. Boom. The earth itself is torn asunder, shredded by a force far beyond his wildest expectations. Next, defense. Zeke activates dragon scale armor on his left arm and swings his sword directly at his own limb. Clang. The heavy sword bounces off violently, flying dozens of meters away. Even without equipment, his skin is now tougher than plate armor. The ultimate spear and the ultimate shield, with dragon claw and dragon scale. He is becoming a monster. Scene change. The atmosphere is tense at the Draker Academy training grounds. It is time for the term evaluation, the Sword Aura exam. The instructor's voice booms across the field. These puppets are reinforced with special alloys. Brute strength alone will not leave a scratch. Only those who can manifest true sword aura will destroy them. Fail to leave a mark, and you fail the term. I don't care about your past grades. You will be sent back to the basics. Panic spreads through the students like wildfire. One mistake here, and their advancement is over. The instructor's voice cuts through the tension, announcing the official start of the exam, while Owen stands nearby, lost in deep concentration. This mental image training is the secret behind the Gem family's renowned Sword Aura education. When it comes to controlling Sword Aura, even the prestigious Pureblood Awakeners cannot compare to his mastery. Next, Owen, the instructor bellows. On cue, Owen steps forward and slowly unsheathes his blade with deliberate grace. A piercing sword cry resonates across the training field, a high-pitched wail that leaves the instructors visibly shaken. A sword cry of that magnitude, it is exactly what one would expect from a scion of a powerful family. Without wasting a second, Owen unleashes a flurry of strikes. In the blink of an eye, deep, devastating sword marks are carved into every single puppet. The audience gasps in utter shock. As expected of the Gem heir, his skill is absolute. At this rate, Surpassing Lord Abel is not just a dream, it is merely a matter of time. Suddenly, Owen Arrogant shakes off the instructor's hand and storms toward the audience with burning pride. Moments later, the reality of the exam sets in as student after student performs poorly in his shadow. A heavy depression settles over the crowd after witnessing Owen's dominance, yet no one has failed. The special class is truly on a different level. Finally, it is Rena's turn to face the trial. She steps forward, her voice calm but firm. "Instructor, I have a request. I wish to be evaluated using the dragon slaying method." The instructor's eyes widen in disbelief at her audacious proposal. That is the evaluation standard reserved for senior students. Merely using sword aura and wielding the dragon slaying method are in completely different realms of difficulty. Simply infusing a blade with aura only requires a high level of concentration, but the dragon slaying method demands that aura be perfectly allocated to every single movement, requiring godlike control. Owen watches with a sneer, feeling a twisted sense of joy. "Rena, you're just embarrassing yourself. Your aura will shatter after a few swings." The concerned instructor warns, "This will make the passing criteria much stricter. Are you certain?" Rena nods without hesitation. She closes her eyes, slowly gathering her sword aura. Then, in a split second, her figure vanishes, flashing through the group of puppets in a blur of lethal light. It happens in an instant. The surrounding puppets are completely annihilated. The crowd watches in stunned silence, their minds unable to process her speed. They believed Owen was the strongest, but compared to Rena, the gap between them is like heaven and earth. Owen's expression darkens. "Damn it, Rena stole my spotlight again." Just then, Rena points her blade forward. Owen grits his teeth. Is she mocking me in front of everyone? No. She has never cared about me from the start. He follows her gaze. It isn't directed at him. After Rena finishes, Zeke sighs, feeling helpless. Zeke thinks, "She's staring right at me with such intensity. I can't pretend I didn't see that. Fine, I'll accept the challenge." "Instructor, please evaluate me using the dragon slaying method as well." Hearing this, one of the instructors scoffs in disapproval. "Do you think you are on Rena's level? Do you think the dragon slaying method is a parlor trick?" But another instructor interjects. "The conditions will be the same as Rena's. Do you accept?" "Of course," Zeke confirms calmly. Confused, the first instructor whispers, "Why did you agree to test him? I've never even seen this kid in class." The other instructor replies, "Zeke made a bet with Instructor Andre and won, granting him exemption from classes. He's the first pure blood awakener to manifest golden light. In the dungeon exam, he shattered Lord Abel's record. He is the rumored monster, Zeke Draker." Meanwhile, Zeke focuses, converting his internal ether into sword aura through the heavy blade. "This is harder than I imagined, but this amount should suffice." Slowly, Zeke raises his greatsword, the air growing heavy around him. Rena's eyes widen in shock as she recognizes the stance. That is the dragon slaying method, first form heaven breaking stance. Damn it, his posture is flawless. It rivals even Instructor Andre. A figure flashes past, moving faster than the eye can track. Zeke executes the dragon slaying method with absolute perfection. It is a technique he used until he was sick of it in his previous life. Demonstrating the basics feels nostalgic. This level should be enough to provoke Rena, he thinks. But the murmurs of the crowd make Zeke's heart skip a beat. Did you see that? Did he just cloak his sword in aura? Is Zeke already a purple knight? Zeke freezes. Damn, was I too absorbed in the flow I unconsciously released my true sword aura? This is trouble. I've drawn way too much attention to myself. The two instructors stare, their jaws dropping in disbelief. A first-year student has reached the Purple Knight rank. Even Owen begins to tremble in fear, while Rena's eyes burn with excitement. Scene change. Later, the principal summons Zeke to his office. "I heard you achieved a legendary score in the exam." The principal begins. "Reaching the Purple Knight level at age 13, you are truly a prodigy." Zeke, how would you like to take the grade skipping exam? Zeke asks, slightly confused. Does grade skipping mean skipping the first year? The principal smiles. Of course, it could mean even more. After all, this system is designed for exceptional students like you. The principal thinks. He took the bait so quickly. Zeke reflects. I've already done so many attention-grabbing things. There's no point in hiding now. He immediately agrees. Although I don't know what scheme they are plotting, I am willing to play along for now. As Zeke leaves, the principal makes a call. Both Rena and Zeke have agreed to the grade skipping exam. A voice on the other end replies, then proceed as arranged. The principal leans back with a cryptic smile. Yes, I understand completely. Things are becoming far more interesting than I anticipated. Meanwhile, deep within the elite training grounds of Draker Academy, Zeke and Rena stand ready, awaiting their destiny. Suddenly, a figure manifests before them, radiating an overwhelming pressure. It is the high-ranked knight from the main family, the examiner for today's skipping exam, Zeke Draker. Zeke's eyes widen in sheer disbelief. Is that the Willow Sword? A ghost from his past life has returned to haunt him. In his previous life, Zeke had mistaken this man for the Empire's hound, sent to hunt him down. But he later learned the truth. Ale held no hostility. He was simply a warrior seeking to bury his fallen comrades with honor. Remembering that day, Zeke had offered his assistance. Let me help you. Even if you refuse, I will not stand by and watch. I am Zeke, from the Northern United Team. You are from the Draker family, correct? The man had replied slowly, his voice heavy with regret. No, I have abandoned the Draker name. Zeke had asked, then how shall I address you? The reply was simple yet chilling. Just call me Willow Sword. The name fits him perfectly, cold and unyielding. Yet Zeke is baffled. Why would the family send a legendary high-ranked knight to test mere first-year students? High-ranked knights are the pillars that hold up the heavens of the Draker family. A title reserved only for those with supreme martial prowess, unshakable reputation, and vast experience. The instructor steps forward, his voice echoing through the hall as he announces the rules. The exam is a duel of swords. Unless you lose consciousness or surrender, the battle continues. Show us everything you have. Rena steps forward, eager to prove herself first, but Ale interrupts with a dismissive wave. There is no need for one-on-one duels. His eyes gleam with arrogance. Attack me together. Rena bristles at the insult and prepares to charge, but Zeke's hand clamps onto her shoulder. Hold your temper, Zeke warns, his voice low and urgent. You know the gap between our power and his. Besides, the exam has already begun. If you had rushed in blindly just now, you would have lost points instantly. Hearing his logic, Rena forces herself to calm down, her breathing stabilizing. Zeke Draker, what are your orders? Zeke's eyes narrow tactically. In this situation, I have a battle plan, a strategy to inflict a severe wound with a single strike. The two take their stances. All draws his weapon. It is a strange, curved blade from the Eastern Empire, known as a ring knife. Zeke realizes Ale has mastered this exotic weapon long ago. Rena looks dissatisfied, but on the battlefield, honor is a luxury the weak cannot afford. Now, they must focus entirely on executing the plan. In the next heartbeat, they launch a pincer attack. Aura explodes, but Ale blocks both strikes with a casual raise of his hand. He counters, forcing them to retreat instantly. Rena's heart pounds in her chest. The pressure is suffocating. So this is the true might of a high-ranked knight. They follow Zeke's instructions perfectly, targeting his blind spots, yet they cannot even graze his clothing. Rena grits her teeth, channeling her energy. Dragon Slaying Method. Chapter 3, First Stance. Crescent Moon, Slash. She unleashes the technique with lethal intent. A blade of energy flies toward Ale, but he sidesteps it effortlessly. With a blur of motion, he kicks Rena, sending her flying dozens of meters across the hall. The spectators gasp in horror. Rena, are you all right? She struggles to her feet, wiping blood from her lip. I'm fine, but stay back. It's too dangerous. I can't create an opening with my strength alone, she thinks. But you can do it, Zeke Draker. Flashback to the planning phase. Rena had scoffed at Zeke's idea, but Zeke was firm. This isn't a sport. It's a test of survival. He's evaluating our combat instincts. Rena finally nodded. Understood. I will follow your lead. But will it work? He is a high-ranked knight. Zeke's eyes were cold. Then we must force him into a situation where the plan cannot fail. Zeke continued. Remember our duel? Why couldn't you dodge the stone I threw? Because I didn't expect such a dirty trick, Rena replied. Exactly. Zeke smiled darkly. High-ranked knights are human too. When I give the signal, this move will be devastating. We only need one tiny crack in his defense. Back in the present, Zeke explodes into motion, dragon slaying method, dragon form, gale shadowless step. He closes the distance in a heartbeat. Al's eyebrows raise slightly. That footwork. Isn't that the Lord Duke's technique? Suddenly, Zeke swings his sword, but he isn't aiming for Ale. He strikes the environment, the lights shatter, plunging the room into absolute darkness. Al thinks, I see. Using the Pure Blood Awakener's mana interference trait to block vision. A childish tactic. Does he really think blinding a high-rank knight will create an opening? But suddenly a chill runs down Ale's spine. Something is wrong. Even with his heightened senses, Ale can only see vague shapes. But Zeke moves as if he can see everything as clear as day. This boy is hiding secrets far deeper than Ale imagined. In the darkness, Zeke silently activates his trump card. The Dragon Claw skill. This is the perfect chance to test it. An enormous and spectral dragon claw manifests in the dark, tearing through the air toward Ale. Al's instincts scream. He swings his sword frantically to block. Impact. Shockwaves ripple through his arm. Is this heavy blow really from a student? No, this isn't merely a sword strike. Zeke's physical prowess has long since transcended the limits of an ordinary student. Rena is severely handicapped by the darkness. Unlike Zeke, without her full combat potential, my options are dangerously limited. This specific technique is only effective against opponents of equal standing. In a heartbeat, both sides unleash a ferocious offensive. Zeke is shocked. His opponent adapted to the pitch-black void instantly. Suddenly, Al brings his greatsword crashing down, his form blurring into a phantom. It feels like battling a living shadow. Just then, Al feints and swings his blade wide to the side. A trap. It's a magic lamp. Zeke has already severed every light source in the vicinity. The shattering glass masks the sound of Zeke's true movement. Seizing the moment, Zeke slashes out with blinding speed and roars, Rena, do it now. In perfect sync, he hurls a vial high into the air, the very alchemical weapon he commissioned from the professor. Compressed inside is a volatile mix of flash and sonic magic. An explosion of blinding light and deafening sound erupts. The shockwave forces Al to recoil and cover his ears in agony. Damn it, an ambush. Al curses internally. Rena wastes no time, lunging forward to strike the disoriented warrior. Zeke joins the assault instantly, but in that fraction of a second, Al executes the dragon-slaying method Full Moon / a devastating counterforce blasts them both back dozens of meters. Damn, this monster is simply too powerful. A wave of unease ripples through the onlookers. Is he truly a pure blood awakened? The mana lamp showed absolutely no reaction to his energy. Could the bronze statue have malfunctioned? Zeke remains silent. He knows that speaking now would only ignite the crowd's suspicion. Suddenly, slow applause breaks the tension. Abel steps forward with a smile and says, Why so serious? Everyone, this term, we have been blessed with 2 pure blood awakened. Isn't this a miracle worth celebrating? Hearing the noble's words, the aristocracy quickly falls in line. Yes, he's right. This is a momentous occasion. Abel snaps his fingers at a subordinate. What are you waiting for? Fetch the containment gloves for Zeke. Immediately. Moments later, Zeke equips the suppression gloves. He knows Abel's intentions all too well. A storm of rage brews beneath his calm facade. The instructor steps up to address the crowd. The blessing ceremony is concluded. The celebration banquet will follow shortly. Please, enjoy the festivities. Zeke, however, is already plotting his exit. But escape isn't that simple. Zeke, where are you rushing off to? Abel's voice cuts through the air. Congratulations on your awakening. Abel extends his hand in a gesture of goodwill. Zeke freezes, his mind racing. If he refuses here, Abel will undoubtedly sense his hostility. Should he play along for now? In that split second, memories of Abel's atrocities, the inhumane cruelty of the past timeline flash before his eyes. Zeke makes his choice. He leaves the hand hanging. Witnessing this insolence, Abel's face twists into a look of utter contempt. You're making the atmosphere uncomfortable, Zeke. But Zeke's gaze turns to steel. He would rather die than touch this tyrant. Abel slowly retracts his hand, his voice dropping to a chill. No choice then. Seeing you is enough for today. Until next time, Zeke, because rest assured, we will meet again. The scene shifts as Zeke returns to the safety of his quarters. But a question gnaws at him. Why didn't the mana react? Pure blood awakened, possess the unique trait of mana interference, meaning their biological structure is the antithesis of mana-born dragons. Since most technology runs on mana, purebloods require special gloves provided by their families to function in society. If he were truly a standard pureblood, removing the gloves should cause immediate malfunctions in the equipment around him. Zeke commands the system open status window. The text reveals a shocking truth. It's completely different. He isn't interfering with mana, he possesses mana reflection. He needs to analyze this carefully. Mana reflection utilizes a distorted magnetic field to render surrounding mana inert rather than destroying it. Is mana reflection classified as a skill? It seems it doesn't activate passively like interference. That explains why the mana lamp remained unaffected. Before the ceremony, his class was rare, but now it reads unique immortal. He quickly notices a discrepancy in the data. Ordinary students emitted a blue light. Only Rena displayed the crimson glow of a pureblood. Zeke started with red, but it shifted to gold. The system previously noted that the identification equipment lacked sufficient data. Could the equipment refer to the ancient bronze statue when the system input his true information? The previously dormant statue glowed red. Realization strikes him like lightning. The bronze statue doesn't determine if one is awakened. It confirms the user's potential qualifications. The rare profession corresponds to the red light. The unique profession corresponds to gold. But in this era, the concept of specific professions has been lost to history. The statue was reduced to a simple awakening tool. They have misunderstood everything, labeling rare professions as pure blood awakening. Has no family head ever uncovered this truth? He then notices his accumulated achievement points, likely earned during the ceremony's chaos. Without hesitation, he selects the upgrade. A cascade of system prompts floods his vision. Dragon skills unlocked. Dragon Eye, Dragon Majesty, and Gluttony. However, these legendary skills require more achievement points to fully activate. But what is the true nature of Gluttony? To devour endlessly. To assimilate instantly. Though the specifics remain a mystery, the hunger for power is undeniable. Suddenly, the system chimes. Zeke unlocks two legendary skills, Dragon Eye and Dragon Majesty. He immediately activates the Dragon Eye, expecting a transformation. At first, silence. But then, his perception shifts violently. The world warps around him. The bronze statue in the courtyard zooms into focus, as if standing merely inches away. Incredible optical enhancements. Suddenly, a holographic window manifests. System query. Would you like to analyze the hidden data of discovered items? He accepts. In a heartbeat. A deluge of information overlays reality, decoding every object in sight. But the cost is steep. Zeke's knees buckle as his energy hits zero. This skill is terrifyingly potent, but the mana consumption is lethal. He quickly casts healing magic, forcing his stamina to recover. That is when he notices it. His regeneration has evolved. His body is repairing itself at a visible rate. This isn't just healing, it is reconstruction. This is practically the door to immortality. To test his theory, he slices his palm with a blade. Before the blood can even drip, the skin knits itself back together perfectly. With power like this, why waste time 5 years to graduate? For a monster like him, 2 years is more than enough. With the Dragon Eye mastered, Zeke steps into the legendary Draker Academy. It is spring, the season of new beginnings, and the capital city pulses with vibrant energy. The upperclassmen parade around, their bodies honed to physical perfection. To the untrained eye, they look like adults. But compared to the graduates of the cradle, they are mere children. Zeke's gaze shifts. The nobility has arrived. The political lines are already drawn. Among the countless vassals supporting the Draker lineage, 3 titans stand above the rest. The Thun family, ruling through brute strength, the G-Men's family, masters of intelligence, and the Walter family, who control the gold. The heirs of these 3 giants have already built their factions, gathering followers like sheep. But to Zeke, these petty games are meaningless. The scene shifts as he arrives at his sanctuary, the Platinum Apartment, exclusive to Pureblood Awakened. Blood. It is a palace disguised as a dormitory, private training halls, vast libraries, and luxury beyond imagination. Only the absolute elite reside here. Purebloods are not just students, they are treated as rulers of this floor. A phalanx of servants bows in unison to welcome him. Even Zeke is taken aback. This level of extravagance, it is almost excessive. Suddenly, Decker approaches, holding a package. It is a delivery, a pristine pair of combat gloves, perfect. With his hands protected, it is time to forge a weapon worthy of his strength. Decker nods in agreement. He suggests the Troy Principality, a land bordering the giant mountain range, famous for divine iron and master smiths. Legend says the first blade of every great knight is born in the forges of Troy. Decker offers politely. Shall I commission a renowned grandmaster for you, sir? No need, Zeke replies calmly. I have my own candidate. He hands over a card with a single name scrawled on it. Decker reads it, confused. Galen Halport, I have never heard of this smith, but I will locate him at once. Before leaving, Decker hands over the curriculum materials. Prepare for tomorrow's lecture, young master. Left alone, Zeke sinks into thought. Within the walls of the Platinum apartment, he can cultivate his forbidden skills without prying eyes. A servant interrupts his meditation. Miss Rena requests the honor of dining with you. Rena. Interesting. The scene shifts to Rena's private quarters. She smiles. Welcome, Zeke. She snaps her fingers. Instantly, her attendants bow and vanish. Forgive the secrecy, she says. My family values privacy. We shall discuss business after we eat. The atmosphere grows heavy. Zeke observes her with his dragon eye. She lives up to the title of Shining Knight. She channels aura through her Dantian, already achieving the rank of Purple Knight. Impressive power. But her form is rigid, stiff. A tragic waste of such God-given talent. The meal ends. Rena drops the pleasantries. Zeke, I want you to accept the patronage of the Thun family. Zeke frowns. Patronage? I am a pureblood awakened, just like you. I need no charity. Rena sighs, shaking her head. You misunderstand our world. The Platinum apartment gives us comfort, not power. We receive no training resources from the school. The academy holds centuries of combat data, secret techniques, battle strategies. Without a personal instructor to guide you, even a genius will hit a wall. You will be left behind and eliminated. You need a sponsor. Even Abel, the legendary Red Knight, climbed to the top with the help of the G-Men's family. My family head is interested in you. You have no backing. Zeke, you are alone. I will ask you one last time. Accept the Thun family's help. Zeke's answer is instantaneous. No. Rena freezes, stunned by the rejection. Why? It is the only path to power. Zeke leans forward, his eyes gleaming. It is not for such trivial reasons. As a pureblood awakened, I have no need for handouts or favors. However, since you invited me to dine, I will offer a repayment. Your swordsmanship relies far too heavily on brute force. You are weighed down by the expectations of your lineage. Listen closely. Your true weapon is the flexibility of your resilient form. Stop taking attacks head-on. Do not try to crush your enemies with raw power alone. Utilize your agility to flow around their strikes. Create an opening. Then deliver one fatal, precise blow. Master this, and your strength will soar beyond its current limits. Hearing this, Rena frowns, her pride slightly stung. Overwhelming power is the symbol of the Thun family, she protests. I follow our tradition. Yet, deep down, she knows he speaks the truth. She's been a prisoner of her clan's rigid ideology. Those invisible chains have bound her blade without her even realizing it. Did he see right through my soul? She wonders. I was hailed as a genius my whole life, yet no one ever dared to critique me. Zeke, just who exactly are you? Leaving her stunned, Zeke turns and heads back toward the dormitory. In his past life, this academy was a living hell. But now, as a pureblood awakened, the nightmare has transformed into his personal paradise. Suddenly, a familiar voice slices through the air. Zeke, are you in the special class as well? It is Owen Jans, the third son of the Jans family, a tormentor from the past life, and a snake who hides his venom behind a friendly smile. His tone is smooth, but calculating. I invited you to dinner yesterday. Why did you ignore the letter I left on your desk? Don't make me laugh, Zeke scoffs. Why should I answer to you? Instantly, a towering figure steps out to block his path. You brat, the stranger growls. How dare you spit on the young master's goodwill? Zeke looks the thug over with mild curiosity. I understand you have an ego. The goon sneers, but you need to learn exactly who you are messing with. A fist flies, Zeke casually waves his hand, deflecting the blow effortlessly before they both leap back to create distance. I didn't expect a senior to resort to cheap shots, Zeke muses. The thug puffs out his chest. I am Don Roswell, but you will call me Mighty Don. I'll teach you some manners for young Master Owen. Mighty Don Zeke smirks internally. A reject who isn't even a knight dares to use such a grand title. In a blink, Zeke vanishes. He reappears right in front of Don, driving an aura-infused fist into his gut that sends the fool flying dozens of meters. Dusting off his hands, Zeke stares them down. So, Mighty Don is finished. Who is next? Make your choice quickly. Young Master Owen. Owen's smile falters. He steps close to Zeke, his voice dropping to a whisper. Don't get too arrogant, Zeke. With that, he signals his men to retreat. The Draker Academy hierarchy is divided strictly into two worlds. First, the ordinary class. Their lives are rigid, packed with mandatory schedules and endless lectures from dawn until dusk. Then, there is the special class. The elite of the elite. They have the freedom to choose their own path, governed only by their superior talent. Zeke sits in the classroom, looking bored. I shouldn't be surprised, he thinks. Every face here reeks of noble privilege and highborn status. The professor commands the room's attention. To inspire our new special class, we have a distinguished guest. The captain of the Eastern Empire team from 20 years ago. The legendary hero who orchestrated the grand invasion, Principal Howard Draker. The students applaud, but Zeke knows the truth. This so-called battle hero and master strategist is nothing but a despicable fraud. His strategy was pure luck. He accidentally disrupted an enemy plot and stole the glory to become a national icon. But Zeke's hatred runs deeper. In the past life, this man expelled him, forcing Zeke to wander the Troy Principality until he was sold into southern slavery like cattle. A cold fire burns in Zeke's eyes. He makes a silent vow. I will make you pay for every second of my suffering. The professor interrupts his dark thoughts. Grab your swords. We meet at the training field immediately. Moments later, the elite students gather in the vast indoor arena. Dragon slaying basics. It is a mandatory hurdle for the special class. In his past life, lacking aura, this course was Zeke's nightmare. It took him 2 years to master what others learned in 3 months. But things are different now. A new instructor steps forward. I am Andre, the man states coldly. I will be instructing you in dragon-slaying basics. Whispers erupt among the students. Look at his uniform, one whispers. Wait, is that the red-eyed knight? Andre. It is him, not a pure blood, yet he graduated first in his class. A true genius who earned the Draker title through sheer skill. Even Zeke is impressed by the faculty's quality. However, he knows Andre's reputation well, a man known for his rigid, uncompromising nature. Andre raises a hand, silencing the room instantly. His sharp gaze locks onto the massive greatsword strapped to Zeke's back. What is the meaning of that weapon? Andre demands. Without a word, Zeke draws the colossal blade, swinging it through the air with terrifying ease. The wind howls from the swing. As you can see, Professor, Zeke states calmly, this is the blade that suits me best. Andre scowls, confused by this defiance of logic. Ignorant fool. A student must choose a weapon that matches their physique, not their ego. Zeke sighs internally. Here we go again. He knew pulling this sword would ignite a storm, but he didn't care. With a smirk, he challenges the instructor. If I can defeat you with this blade, can we skip the boring lectures? Such arrogance. In response, Andre unleashes a crushing wave of pressure, but it crashes uselessly against Zeke's iron will mental defense, shattering like glass upon a rock. Andre slowly draws his steel, his eyes narrowing. Fine. If your blade can so much as graze my weapon, I will overlook your insolence and exempt you from the dragon-slaying basics course. The deal is struck. In the very next heartbeat, terrifying killing intent floods the arena, rushing straight for Zeke. Andre speaks with chilling calm. Relax. I have no intention of using aura against a mere student. Hearing this, a confident grin spreads across Zeke's face. He knows the Blue Knight's weakness perfectly. Victory is within reach, but the gaze of Abel watching from the sidelines complicates everything. If he shows too much power, he will attract the wrong kind of attention. The plan is simple: surrender the moment he touches the instructor's clothes. With a burst of speed, Zeke executes a lightning-fast quick-draw strike, but Andre is faster, blocking it instantly. Shock ripples through Zeke's arms. As expected of a legendary Blue Knight, taking him down will not be a walk in the park. Zeke shifts gears, launching a ferocious barrage of attacks. The onlookers watch in stunned silence, their jaws on the floor. Is this truly the level of a freshman? The formal night has turned into a war zone. The clash of steel has been ringing out for a full 30 minutes. Zeke still hasn't touched a thread on Instructor Andre's uniform, but what the crowd doesn't see is the tremor in Andre's right hand. The instructor is secretly horrified by the boy's monstrous stamina. Fighting without aura is taking a heavy toll. It is becoming impossible to suppress Zeke with pure swordsmanship alone. He realizes that the pure-blooded awakened are at a severe disadvantage here. Meanwhile, Zeke studies his opponent, his mind racing. His own stamina is garbage, but fighting without aura is draining the instructor even faster. The Draker family's mastery of aura is unique. They use it not just for combat, but to sustain their very existence. For them, aura is as essential as oxygen. By suppressing it, Andre is effectively holding his breath while running a marathon. If this drags on, the instructor will collapse from exhaustion before Zeke can pretend to lose. A new plan forms in Zeke's mind. I need to force his hand. I must make him use aura. A hollow victory now would mean nothing. Without hesitation, Zeke activates his flash step skill. His figure blurs, creating multiple after images that circle the exhausted instructor. Panic flickers in Andre's eyes. Zeke leaps high into the air, his sword glowing with the ominous light of the one-hit kill skill. Sensing mortal danger, Andre instinctively breaks his vow. He floods his sword with explosive aura and delivers a devastating counterstrike, blasting Zeke dozens of meters across the arena. Rena gasps, her hands flying to her mouth in pure terror. Damn, that actually hurt. Zeke grits his teeth. That hit like a freight train, but it is the perfect cue to take a dive. Zeke goes limp and crashes to the ground. Seeing the boy down, Andre silently sheathes his weapon, hiding his trembling hands. You pass. You no longer need to attend my class. Andre then turns his piercing gaze to the stunned crowd. Is there anyone else who wishes to skip my lessons? The students shake their heads violently, fear etched onto their pale faces. Andre nods grimly. Good. The rest of you fall in line. The scene shifts. Zeke lies in a hospital bed, staring at the ceiling. Technically, he never touched Andre's clothes. But in the end, he forced a Blue Knight to use aura. That was an undeniable acknowledgement of his strength. The result is perfect. Andre maintained his authority, and Zeke gained his freedom. His mind drifts back to that final, earth-shattering blow. That was the Dragon Cleave, the first stance from the Dragon Slaying Manual. He never expected the Blue Knight's version to be so catastrophic. The only reason Zeke isn't in a coma is his secret passive skill, high-speed regeneration. But regeneration alone won't secure the life he wants. To be truly free, he needs absolute power, power that forces the world to bow. Suddenly, a shadow falls over his bed. A voice rumbles. So, you are Arthur's youngest son. Zeke freezes. Who is this intruder? The red-haired stranger stares at him with intense suspicion. Kid, explain something to me. How did you survive that? You clearly suffered severe internal organ damage, yet you recovered in a heartbeat. Did you think I wouldn't notice panic spikes in Zeke's chest? Did he figure out the healing ability? No, that's impossible. Healing magic is unknown in this academy. Zeke decides to play the fool. Suddenly, the red-haired man swings a chop at Zeke's neck. Reacting on instinct, Zeke rolls off the bed and throws the white sheet to blind him. As the man's vision is obscured, Zeke activates his buffs and swings his massive sword with lethal precision. Clang, the stranger blocks the heavy strike with one hand, as if swatting a fly. The man lowers his hand, a dangerous glint in his eye. Your reaction speed? It's excellent. He pauses. You fight like a soldier. Zeke's blood runs cold. Why did he compare me to a soldier? Does he know about my past life? The man continues his analysis. You are a Draker, yet you dropped your sword and used dirty tactics. You are more suited for the muddy battlefield than the knight's arena. Zeke stares at the intruder, his mind calculating the odds. This pressure. This man is at least at the level of a red knight. The mysterious middle-aged man narrows his eyes at the blade. This is a standard issue broadsword from the cradle, is it not? Possessing such exceptional strength? Why would you limit yourself with such a crude weapon? But before Zeke can retort, a shadow materializes behind him. It is Andre, who speaks casually. Ah, there you are, Courtyard Manager Dexter. The title strikes Zeke with a wave of confusion. This unassuming man is the Courtyard Manager. Andre continues, seemingly oblivious to the tension. Wait, weren't you just at the training grounds? How did you arrive here so swiftly, student? If your wounds have closed, return to your quarters immediately. As Zeke turns to depart, the older man's voice halts him. If you find yourself with free time, come to the greenhouse in the West Wing. I will teach you something magnificent. Zeke rejects the offer instantly. The man chuckles. That stubborn temper. It is the exact mirror of Arthur's. Courtyard Manager Dexter. That had to be a fabrication. This man held a status high enough to address the Draker family head, Arthur, by his first name. He was the only mentor Andre ever acknowledged. Zeke Draker, the legendary Wind Knight. A single warrior whose power rivals the entire kingdom's army. One of the fabled Black Knights. When he vanished without a trace, it sent shockwaves rippling across the entire continent. To think he was hiding in plain sight within this academy. Rumors always said the Duke was a man driven by deep, singular obsessions. Legends claim he only became a Black Knight simply because he favored the color black. Now, Zeke's interest is thoroughly piqued. If he wants to guide me, I will not let his ultimate technique slip through my fingers. He needs to transform the Duke's mere interest into a burning obsession. The scene shifts. In the lecture hall, Professor Pinon stands before the chalkboard. Can anyone tell me how to resolve this mana anomaly? Silence fills the room. No one dares to speak. Breaking the stillness, Zeke raises a hand and speaks slowly. Professor, I require clarification on the mana conversion drive you just described. Upon hearing this, a spark of intrigue lights up the professor's eyes. It is the very first time a student has actively engaged him with a question. Moments later, as the class dismisses, Professor Pinon calls out to him, "It is rare to encounter a student with such a thirst for knowledge as you. If you have further inquiries, come to my research lab. I am an alumnus of the prestigious Delhi Magic University, and I held many scholarships there." Zeke feels a jolt of surprise. I knew he was no ordinary mage, but I never expected him to hail from the elite Delhi Magic University. Without a second thought, Zeke accepts the offer. After all, forging an alliance with a high-tier magician carries zero disadvantages. Mages, with their calculated and flexible minds, are far more suitable partners than those rigid, honor-bound knights. Pinon, let us see if you can be of use to me. Suddenly, Zeke spots the Duke lounging casually on a nearby bench. The older man seems puzzled why Zeke had not visited the greenhouse. I believe I told you I would teach you something magnificent, did I not? Zeke replies coolly. And did I not already refuse that offer? He keeps his tone deliberate and slow. I acknowledge your skills are exceptional, but I am preoccupied with my own training. I have no time to spare. In a blur, the Duke ghosts behind him. Before Zeke's synapses can even fire, a single strike sends him plunging into darkness. Consciousness returns slowly. Zeke finds himself in the West Wing greenhouse. Did you kidnap me? The Duke nods shamelessly. Indeed, I brought you here. I have become very interested in you. The man is speaking his inner thoughts aloud now. There's a hint of anxiety in his demeanor. Zeke prepares to trigger his flash step to escape, but in the next split second, the Duke has already materialized behind his back. As the Duke slowly raises his left hand, an overwhelming pressure forces Zeke to freeze. This monster. He is still toying with me. Confused, Zeke asks, "What exactly about me has captured your attention?" The Duke's eyes narrow. "How did you instantly heal your internal injuries back at the training grounds? That is the source of his fixation?" Zeke smirks. "If you are so curious, why not test it yourself?" The moment the words leave his lips, the Duke vanishes from sight, leaving Zeke blinking in confusion. In the next heartbeat, Zeke's own greatsword is flying toward him with terrifying speed. Zeke sidesteps instantly, spinning to deflect the blow. What is the meaning of this? The Duke shrugs. "Did you not invite me to test you, but that was far too easy. Let us make a wager. If you can merely graze my sleeve with your blade, I shall grant you one wish. However, if you choose to surrender, you must reveal all your secrets to me." 3 hours have passed since the bet began, and the Duke is visibly shaken. What is this boy? He takes heavy blows, fights back with ferocity, possesses bottomless stamina, and repairs his injuries endlessly. Could he possibly be? Just then, Zeke activates his restoration technique once more. I could keep this up all day, but I will never win the bet at this rate. He has to use it. Dragon Majesty, a skill he has never unleashed because of its catastrophic danger. But against a legendary Black Knight, holding back is not an option. In an instant, Zeke erupts with a terrifying surge of aura. The Duke's eyes widen in genuine astonishment. The boy's gaze has sharpened into the Predator's look. Now that is what I wanted to see. Zeke concentrates his chi, the air trembling around him. In a flash, he utilizes Flash Step to launch an instantaneous Iaido draw strike. He is repeating the same attack. Compared to the monstrous speed of the Thune family heiress, he seems entirely unremarkable. Yet, the burning intensity in his eyes reveals a spirit that refuses to be tamed. Just as hesitation flickers about using his aura, Zeke makes his move. He unleashes the terrifying pressure of Dragon's Majesty. In a split second, cold sweat drenches Duke's back as his instincts scream danger. With a single, casual punch, he shatters Zeke's greatsword into useless fragments, leaving him bewildered by the sudden escalation. Taking advantage of the chaos, Zeke kicks up a blinding cloud of dust. While Duke scans the haze for his opponent, Zeke has already ghosted behind him like a phantom. The Dragon Eye activates, locking onto the target. Zeke swings his blade with lethal precision, but his steel passes harmlessly through Duke's body as if cutting through smoke. Before his eyes, Duke dissolves into a violent gust of wind and vanishes. Zeke freezes, his face twisted in absolute shock at this display of mastery. The realization hits him. This is the legendary footwork that birthed storms from a mere walk, the signature of the Wind Knight. Suddenly, a voice whispers from the shadows behind him. Let's call this a draw. But before Zeke can react, a heavy fist slams into him, launching him dozens of meters through the air. As he crashes down, a Crimson System window materializes in his vision. Warning: fatigue limit exceeded due to skill overuse. Darkness creeps into the edges of his vision. Zeke's eyelids grow heavy as exhaustion drags him toward the abyss. Yet, even on the brink of unconsciousness, a smirk plays on his lips. You still haven't told me your real name, have you? Mr. Dexter, the humble courtyard manager. The next thing he knows, he is tossed back into the room like a rag doll. The old man grunts. Sharp kid, you're right. I once held the title of the Black Knight of Draker. Duke Draker, a living legend, stands before him, realizing the gravity of the situation. Zeke immediately bows his head in deference. I have been incredibly disrespectful to a family elder. Please, I beg your forgiveness. Duke scoffs, crossing his arms. So, you were just waiting for me to drop the act this whole time. Zeke raises his head, curiosity burning in his gaze. Lord Duke, what did you mean by once a Black Knight? Duke shrugs nonchalantly. Nothing special. I used to be black rank. Now I'm red. Simple as that. The revelation stuns Zeke. In the knightly order, ranks are only supposed to ascend to glory, never fall. What could have caused a legend to regress? Duke waves his hand dismissively. Enough history lessons. I'll explain the ugly truth another time. I knew you recognized me from the start. Your goal was to corner me into accepting you as a disciple, wasn't it? A rare, impressed smile cracks Duke's stoic face. You've got guts, kid. I like that. Fine. I accept you as my official disciple. Zeke blinks, unable to believe his ears. Was it truly this simple, wasting no time? He falls to his knee and recites the solemn oath of discipleship. With the formalities done, Zeke voices the question haunting him. Master, what exactly did you see in me? Why accept someone like me? It is a valid question. Duke is notorious for rejecting students, even the century's greatest genius. Andre had to beg for years to become his sole pupil. Internally, Zeke has a theory. He assumes Duke saw potential during their clash, perhaps a glimpse of talent that could one day eclipse even Andre. Duke leans in, breaking his train of thought. Why don't you take a guess? Zeke ventures tentatively. Is it because of my talent? Duke snorts loudly. Don't make me laugh. If it were about raw talent, the Thune girl would be standing here instead of you. No, what I like is your ruthlessness. Even geniuses rarely reach the black or red tiers. Those who grow up without struggle shatter like glass at the first real defeat. His words ring with brutal truth. History's full of prodigies who stalled at the purple rank, unable to conquer their own psychological walls. Duke gestures toward the door. Now, enough talk. It's time for your first lesson. The scene shifts to the hidden training grounds beneath the greenhouse. Confusion clouds Zeke's mind. Why is the training just endless running? He has been sprinting for 3 agonizing hours. Finally, Duke raises a hand. Stop. I have a question for you. Panting, Zeke nods. Of course, Master. What is it? In a blur of motion, Duke teleports behind him. Just checking something. He snatches Zeke's wrist. Instinct takes over, and Zeke violently rips his arm away. He leaps back, creating distance. Duke stares at his empty hand, eyes narrowing in suspicion. Why are you so terrified of letting me check your pulse? Cold sweat erupts on Zeke's forehead. He knows he is treading on dangerous ground. Duke steps forward, his voice low and calculating. It's been strange since the beginning. During our fight, the bet in the greenhouse, and even after running 500 laps just now, I sense absolutely no aura radiating from you, and now you recoil when I try to examine your energy flow. Tell me the truth. Is it possible that you cannot use aura at all? Duke pauses, recalling the incident with the statue. But the bronze statue reacted to you. It emitted a golden light unlike anything history has ever seen. So why do you hide your pulse from me? Zeke studies his master's face. There is no malice, only the genuine curiosity of a warrior. For a member of the Draker bloodline to be unable to use aura is a scandal of epic proportions. Yet, Duke seems more intrigued than disgusted. Zeke realizes he is lucky his master is this eccentric old man. If anyone else had discovered his inability to wield aura before he secured the Sword of Light, his life would be over. But this is not his past life. He doesn't need to weave a web of lies in front of Duke. Slowly, Zeke peels off his glove. I possess the pure blood symbol. It acts as a shackle, completely hindering my mana, and for some unknown reason, I am cut off from the flow of aura. If the family knew a Draker was crippled like this, I would be exiled instantly. Duke steps forward, finally placing his fingers on Zeke's wrist to confirm the anomaly. Internally, the old master is stunned. To survive this long with such a handicap. This child possesses a ruthlessness far beyond his years. He is merely a child, yet something is wrong. He has definitely awakened. So why is the aura completely undetectable? Duke sinks into deep contemplation. Zeke notices the hesitation. The man checking his pulse is deeply unsettled. The blessing ceremony is the absolute law of the Draker bloodline. Even if logic dictates otherwise, they would invent any excuse to deny a failure. Finally, Duke breaks the silence with a heavy theory. Tell me, boy, are you an irregular? An irregular? Just as expected, he arrived at that conclusion. For someone bound by traditional class concepts, it is the only logical answer. The term refers to those rare anomalies capable of wielding both aura and mana simultaneously. While the gift of foresight is a deviant power, the world generally views irregulars with deep suspicion and disdain. Zeke feigns ignorance. Why would you assume I am an irregular? Duke's eyes narrow. Because your stamina and regeneration are monstrous. Even minor internal injuries usually require time to mend, yet you healed in an instant. That level of recovery requires fuel, and that fuel is aura. You are burning your aura the nanosecond it manifests to regenerate your body. Since the energy is consumed immediately upon generation, it leaves no trace for me to sense. Zeke asks, if I consume it all, does that mean I can never learn your techniques? A grin spreads across Duke's face. Fear not. The wind technique is a supreme combat art that ignores aura entirely. It was forged by knights who mastered the absolute limits of the flesh. The dragon-slaying arts require aura to fuel them, making them inaccessible to you right now. But my wind technique relies solely on the body. Watch closely. Duke's presence suddenly explodes into motion. In a blink, the air warps countless after-images of footsteps surround Zeke in a chaotic dance. In less than a second, Duke reappears before him. Did you catch that? Zeke nods. I just need to trace the path, correct? Precisely. Duke challenges. Now, show me. Zeke takes a deep, steadying breath. His body snaps into motion. He traces the phantom footprints left by his master. Through his unique vision, the hidden intent is laid bare. It is like shadowing an invisible opponent. Every step holds a lethal purpose. Every movement has meaning. In moments, Zeke replicates the wind step perfectly. A week ago, his talent was nowhere near this level. What kind of transformation did he undergo in just 7 days? Duke is thunderstruck by the display. This is a talent seen only once in a millennium. Zeke smirks playfully. Does this put me on the level of a Black Knight? Don't get cocky, brat. The scene shifts to the mess hall, where Zeke devours his meal like a starving beast. Suddenly, Andre shadows him, unable to contain his curiosity. How did you sway, Mr. Dexter? The anxiety is palpable. The pure blood has yet to be accepted. While Zeke has already ascended to discipleship, Zeke replies calmly, I didn't sway him. Mr. Dexter chose me. Andre scoffs. In the end, it really is just about the pure blood, isn't it? Zeke slams his cutlery down. You are being pathetic. Do you really think a man like Dexter cares about bloodlines? He chose me because of my capability, nothing else. Stop nursing your fragile ego with excuses. Instead of whining, why don't you force him to acknowledge you with hard work? The scene shifts to the greenhouse training grounds. Andre is running himself into the ground. Zeke looks on, confused. Master, what is this? Duke sighs. I was about to ask you that myself. He begged to be my servant if I wouldn't take him as a student. I told him if he could run 300 laps without using a drop of aura, I would consider it. I never expected the stubborn fool to actually start running. Zeke realizes the arrogant bookworm possesses a spine of steel after all. Shortly after, the atmosphere in the academy shifts. The patriarch has arrived. The principal rushes forward, bowing low. Welcome, Lord Draker. The aura of the family head is suffocating. Howard, he speaks slowly. It has been too long. The principal remains bowed. Greetings to the Master of Draker. The crowd erupts in reverence. Greetings to the Master of Draker. Arthur Draker pats the principal's shoulder. You have worked hard. My efforts are nothing compared to yours, my lord. Arthur Draker, the head of the Dragon Slayers, one of the 3 transcendent families that rule this world. Arthur ascends to the highest point of the academy. Young Dragon Slayers, you are the hope and future of the Draker bloodline. Train with your lives on the line. Your strength is the family's strength. The students drop to their knees in unison. We obey, Lord Patriarch. Moments later, Zeke is summoned to Arthur's private chambers. He bows respectfully. The Patriarch smiles warmly, but his eyes are sharp. Dispense with the formalities. Sit. I heard you enjoy tea, so I prepared a special blend. Zeke freezes, sensing the heavy implication behind the gesture. Does the family head know my personal tastes? It implies a terrifying reach. Perhaps even the Emperor is blind to things the Draker family sees clearly. Arthur speaks with absolute authority. I summoned you for one reason. I hear Duke has taken a disciple recently. A surprise, indeed. Though your true intentions remain a mystery to me. Study well under him. Do so, and you will undoubtedly rise to become the strongest warrior on the continent. Zeke meets his gaze without flinching. I desire strength above all else. I intend to live with more freedom than any soul alive. That is my sole ambition. But then, the air itself screams as Arthur suddenly unleashes a crushing wave of aura. Arthur smiles dangerously. It seems I am merely another target you wish to surpass. Cold sweat drenches Zeke instantly. This pressure. It is the Astra Sword, the power over life and death. The pinnacle of aura mastery that only a true Black Knight can achieve. Yet, without a single trembling breath, Zeke replies, that is inevitable. Satisfied, Arthur instantly withdraws the suffocating pressure of the Astra Sword. So this is a true Black Knight. His presence is a world apart from Duke's. He is a monster. Arthur's mask of the benevolent leader returns. I came to inspect the academy and offer encouragement, but words are cheap. He slides a sleek card across the table. Consider this a reward for becoming Duke's student. Zeke freezes, his eyes widening in genuine shock. It is the legendary Black Card. Maximum privileges. Unlimited wealth at his fingertips. Use it as you see fit. Zeke bows in gratitude, but his mind races. He sees the trap hidden in the gold. Spending leaves a paper trail. It is a tracking device in the form of luxury. Yet, the fact that Arthur hasn't mobilized the Black Stage suggests one thing. He does not yet view Zeke as a serious threat. Arthur waves his hand gently. Dismissed. Understood, Lord Family Head. Zeke retreats into the shadows. Moments later, Duke storms into the room. You are truly insufferable. You abandoned the boy in the cradle, and now you play the role of the benevolent father. Arthur sighs, the heavy weight of the clan on his shoulders. I sit upon the throne of the family head. Cruelty is part of the job. You are the only one who dares speak to me so freely. He pulls a simple bottle of juice from his robes. Come, let us drink and talk of darker things. The continent is shifting, Duke, surely. Even from the isolation of this academy, you feel the tremors. Duke feigns ignorance. I am but a teacher. How would I know of such things? Do not play the fool. Your network of spies. Your eyes on the continent are still very much alive. If you know, then why ask? Arthur's expression darkens. The Emperor, he has succumbed to the madness of immortality. He scours the world for a way to cheat death. Do you believe such a thing exists? Duke scoffs. Magic can delay the inevitable, but true immortality, impossible. Arthur nods solemnly. I shared that view. But what if the answer lies within an ancient dragon relic? Duke's composure cracks. Shock is written all over his face. Meanwhile, in the adjacent room, and Zeke is listening, he utilizes the soul body technique to eavesdrop on the titans next door. If an ancient dragon relic is involved, anything is possible. Duke whispers, have you located it? Most likely. The Black Armament team reports a signal from the northern continent. Duke narrows his eyes. Does the Emperor know yet? Not yet, but he will. Duke remembers the blood-soaked past. The Emperor's rise to power. His crusade to unify the lands through fire and sword. He stopped only after conquering half the world. Duke thought age had tempered his ambition. He was wrong. If this relic grants eternal life, the world will burn once more. Arthur's voice is grim. I must travel north personally. We must secure the relic before the Emperor unleashes his wrath. That is why I came to you. Glass clinks against glass. They down the juice like bitter wine. Duke sighs. As expected, you only bring me headaches, old friend. Suddenly, Zeke collapses. The high-level eavesdropping drains his energy completely, but his mind is reeling. An ancient dragon relic. Wait, that sculpture I stole in my past life, it must be the relic. The voice in the void before my death, the system windows after my rebirth, it all connects. I stole the very key to the Emperor's immortality. That explains why he sent the elite hounds to butcher me, the administrator system that reversed time. And it is the ancient dragon relic. But who created such a god-tier artifact? Back in the room, the meeting ends. Arthur freezes. His instincts scream at him. Someone is watching. Zeke's mind races. If the relic grants immortality, why did it send me back in time instead? Arthur flings the door open, empty. He frowns, staring into the hallway. Was it just my imagination? The scene shifts to the private chambers, where the air hums with the sound of intense training. Decker steps in, bowing respectfully. Young master, a classmate has arrived and requests your audience. A classmate. Could it be Rena? Send them in, Zeke commands. But as the doors open, it isn't a girl who enters. Liam Stone crashes to his knees, desperate desperation in his eyes. Please, I beg you, take me in as your subordinate. Zeke's expression darkens with frustration. He never should have interfered in that earlier conflict. Coldly, he looks down. You want to serve me, but weren't you Jaken's dog? Liam grit his teeth, shame burning on his face. I was discarded, abandoned like trash, but I must enter Valhalla, no matter the cost. Zeke narrows his eyes, his curiosity piqued. Why was this guy so obsessed with the Valhalla organization in his past life? Zeke sighs. You've come to the wrong person. Go beg the Thun family if you want power. I am an outcast with no backing. I cannot guarantee your entry into Valhalla. Furthermore, Zeke's voice drops to a dangerous whisper. Why should I trust the words of a potential spy sent by Jaken? To put it bluntly, this could all be a trap. The air grows heavy with suspicion. Suddenly, Liam reaches for his waist. A short dagger flashes in the dim light. Without a second of hesitation, he slashes upward, Blood splatters across the floor as Liam severs his own ear. Panting, he looks up with wild eyes. I will find a way to prove my loyalty. If you want my voice, I will cut out my tongue. If you want me crippled, I will sever my own legs. I offer you my life and my body. Just please, accept me. The bloody spectacle strikes a chord deep within Zeke. It reminds him of his own past life, the desperation he once felt. I want to be stronger than anyone. Please, Master, teach me. The boy kneeling before him is a mirror image of Zeke's former self. The atmosphere shifts. Zeke grabs his massive greatsword and hurls it. Fine, if you can withstand a single strike from me, I will accept you. Liam quickly bandages his wound, a spark of hope igniting in his chest. He treats the test lightly, taking one hit. That should be simple. After all, he has awakened his aura as well. Zeke is the same age. How wide could the gap be? But suddenly, a terrifying pressure descends. Liam breaks into a cold sweat. The killing intent is so thick he forgets how to breathe. In a blink, Zeke vanishes and launches his assault. Liam channels every ounce of his strength to block. But the moment their weapons clash, a thunderous boom echoes. Liam is blasted backward, his sword spinning away like a toy. He crashes dozens of meters away. Zeke looms over him like a mountain. Liam Stone, is this truly the limit of your resolve? I overestimated you. Give up on Valhalla. Zeke's words cut deeper than any blade. It seems Jaken was right to abandon him. Without the backing of a noble house, Liam has no future here. Even I, a direct descendant, face expulsion. You don't stand a chance. You will be kicked out of the academy soon. Zeke turns to leave. But suddenly, a hand clamps around his ankle. Is this guy insane? This is the tenacity of the man who would one day be known as the mercenary king. Tears mix with blood on Liam's face. Please, Lord Zeke, just one more chance. Zeke stops, a complex emotion flickering in his eyes. This guy really doesn't know when to quit. Very well, Zeke says, his voice devoid of warmth. I will give you one final opportunity, but I have a condition. You said you would do anything. So, take up your blade and cut off your right arm. The color drains from Liam's face. Terror grips his heart. Psst, what's the matter? Is your arm too precious to sacrifice? In truth, Zeke is trying to force him to quit the path of the sword entirely. He knows no sane person would agree. If you cannot decide, Zeke says coldly, then get out of my sight. I need to return to my training. But then, silence fills the room. Slowly, shakily, Liam forces himself to stand. Zeke watches, puzzled. Even if he misses Valhalla, Liam has the potential to reach the red level on his own. Why is he so desperate? Liam walks to his fallen sword. He grips the hilt. With a roar of pure madness, he swings the heavy blade down toward his own limb. Damn it, he's actually crazy. Zeke moves faster than light. He intervenes, shattering the heavy sword with his bare hand just before impact. He grabs Liam by the collar, shaking him. What kind of sick joke is this? What if I change my mind later? You actually try to do it. Liam looks him in the eye, unwavering. Because I risk losing something far more important than an arm. Zeke stares at him, stunned. If you ever pull a stunt like this again, you're out. Tears of relief stream down Liam's face. Lord Zeke, does that mean you accept me? Zeke sighs, defeated by the boy's sheer will. Of course. Now, hurry up and pick up your ear before it dies. The scene shifts to the infirmary. Liam stares at the high-grade potion in his hand. Can I really use such precious medicine? Drink it, Zeke orders. You earned it. But tell me, Zeke asks, his tone serious, what could possibly be more important than your swordsman's arm? Liam lowers his head. It is my mother. After Jaken threw me away, I received word. My mother collapsed with a high fever. The heat broke, but now she is covered in rose-like red spots. She is withering away, and even the healers are baffled. Zeke nods slowly. So you need Valhalla's medical resources, the best on the continent. Zeke grabs a piece of parchment and begins to write. Rose-like spots, periodic fever. The symptoms are unmistakable. This is the red flower disease, Zeke murmurs. A plague that will sweep the continent 5 years from now. A pandemic that will claim countless lives. In his past life, a cure was found, saving humanity from extinction. Zeke remembers it clearly. He hands the parchment to Liam. Take this. The prescription is simple to synthesize. Even a village healer can brew this. Liam stares at the paper, his eyes widening in shock. How? How do you know of a cure that baffles the experts? Zeke simply smiles. He cannot say that the legendary Al and Jet alchemy brothers won't invent this for another 5 years. However, the greed of the alchemists knew no bounds, seeking to profit from the suffering of the sick. When the brothers discovered this vile truth, they released the formula to the world. Zeke dismisses the weight of his actions with a casual shrug. It is nothing. I merely have some connections within the alchemy world. You possess the cure now. There is no need for Valhalla, and certainly no need to remain my servant any longer. Hearing these words, Liam slowly drops to one knee, his eyes burning with conviction. How could I possibly leave? My life is already yours. I swear to serve you until my final breath. Zeke processes the weight of this oath. To have the future mercenary king as a loyal subordinate, this is an asset beyond measure. Very well. Zeke replies coldly, but know this, if you cannot keep up with my pace, I will leave you behind without hesitation. Meanwhile, shadows move elsewhere as Owen confronts the principal. A sinister glint fills his eyes as he proposes. I wish to offer a suggestion, Principal. Why not raise the stakes for this semester's evaluation? The principal frowns, puzzled by the request. For what purpose? Owen replies smoothly. The freshmen this year are exceptional, scions of noble houses and 2 pure-blood awakeners. If we maintain the standard difficulty from last year, we will fail to distinguish true talent from the mediocre. The principal ponders the logic, then slowly nods. You make a valid point. I will give your proposal serious consideration. Yet, as Owen leaves, a heavy sigh escapes the old man's lips. He thinks, blood truly runs thicker than water. He thinks exactly like that person. To prevent future calamity, the threats must be crushed before they can bloom. Time flies, and the day of judgment arrives. The semester evaluation. A unique tradition of the Academy, the dungeon exploration test. 2 students per team. The objective: escape the dungeon within the time limit. Dungeons are assigned by chance, creating vast disparities in difficulty. Zeke glances at his partner. Liam, do you feel fear? Too much fear leads to mistakes. Too little leads to arrogance. A warrior must find the perfect balance between the two. Next up, Zeke and Liam, but suddenly, the instructor blocks their path. Hold it. Your testing ground is over there. Zeke's eyes narrow. He senses the shift in the air. The instructor presses. What is the matter? Students, why do you hesitate? Nothing. Zeke replies, masking his suspicion. We will follow your command. With that, the duo steps into the unknown darkness. Theoretically, these are Academy-controlled zones. Experimental dungeons with safety protocols and no true danger. Upon entry, a timer begins its countdown. They have exactly 96 hours to clear the trial. Combat prowess is judged harshly. Bringing back the heads of slain monsters will grant bonus points, but the primary goal is survival. Fail to escape in time, and you fail the Academy. Hours pass, and they set up camp to recover. They have been inside for 16 hours, but Zeke is running on fumes. He has trained for 4 days straight, awake for 90 hours prior to the exam. His unlimited stamina trait restores the body, yes, but it cannot heal a shattered mind. In a place where death lurks in every shadow, risks must be calculated. Zeke finally allows his eyes to close. Instantaneously, a vision seizes him, bells chiming in a mournful wind, a torn battle flag, a landscape of absolute ruin. Zeke jolts awake, cold sweat on his brow. Damn it, that nightmare again. But then, wait, I definitely heard bells just now. Instinct takes over. He snuffs out the torch instantly. Liam, wake up. Enemies approach. Stay low. Do not light the fire. We have 4 days to survive. Using Dragon Eye now drains too much mana. I must let my natural vision adjust. Suddenly, the acrid stench of sulfur hits his nose. Memory strikes. A sulfurous odor. Pack hunters. A level 3 threat. Could it be hellhounds? In the previous timeline, Rena only faced a half-orc during this exam. Who would plant hellhounds in a freshman exam? But something feels wrong. Even a hellhound weighs a few 100 pounds at most. The ground shakes violently. This tremor, It signifies a beast weighing tons, a mutation no. This is catastrophe. Zeke throws himself to the side. A massive impact sends him skidding dozens of meters before he finds his footing. The G-Man family, I knew they were plotting in the shadows, but this, they intend to bury us here forever. Liam stares in horror. A mountain spirit, a level 1 disaster class monster capable of shredding hellhounds and half-orcs like paper. Its blood is the primary ingredient for high-grade recovery potions. Because they possess immortal regenerative powers, Liam steps forward, shielding his master. I will be the bait, Lord Zeke. You must escape. Hearing this foolish nobility, a smirk curls on Zeke's lips. Do not make me laugh. What kind of lord abandons his men to save his own skin, Liam? Do not rely on my protection. Rely on your own steel. You are strong. I will open the path. You strike the kill. Liam's fear vanishes, replaced by a confident grin. As one, they launch their assault on the Titan. Steel sings through the air. In moments, the mountain spirit is riddled with deep gashes. Crucially, Liam strikes the vitals with surgical precision. Did he memorize the anatomy of monsters? The boy's a prodigy. However, this level of performance is nowhere near enough. In a flash, Zeke intervenes, blocking the mountain spirit's fatal strike against Liam. He says, "Your combat instincts were solid during this battle. You correctly targeted the opponent's blind spots, but you made a fatal error. You ignored the mountain spirit's terrifying regenerative power. Wounds this shallow heal in the blink of an eye. Your standard attack speed simply cannot outpace this monster's recovery rate. You are not its match yet. Stand back and let me finish this." Faster than a heartbeat, Zeke obliterates the mountain spirit, instantly earning 30 achievement points. He gestures to Liam, signaling him to harvest the creature's head, a trophy that will grant significant points to them both. Suddenly, a holographic window materializes in the air. A hidden quest has been triggered. The objectives are brutal. Hunt 100 monsters within the dungeon. Identify more than 10 distinct species. Time limit 72 hours. The rewards, double achievement points, and 2 random mystery boxes. With 79 hours remaining in the exam, the slaughter of 100 beasts is hardly a challenge. The true difficulty lies in finding 10 different species, even in large-scale exams. The dungeon ecology typically only supports 4 or 5 types of monsters. However, knowing this is a trap laid by the Gimmons family, the logic shifts. If they want him dead, they surely stock the dungeon with all 10 types to lure him in. Meanwhile, Liam finishes securing the mountain spirit's skull. Zeke nods. Excellent work, Liam. Stay close to me. Do not fall behind. After a relentless hunting spree, the clock winds down mercilessly. Only 12 hours remain. Zeke asks, "Liam, how are you holding up? After facing so many beasts, surely your body has adapted to the rhythm of real combat." But Liam shakes his head, exhausted. "I'm still struggling to keep up. It takes too long for me to adjust." While Liam catches his breath, Zeke stares at the system window, lost in calculation. He has successfully hunted 9 species. He has scoured the map. Yet the final monster type remains elusive. The Gimmons family is proving to be uselessly incompetent. Could they not prepare just one more monster type? Suddenly, the earth beneath them shudders violently. In the next instant, the ground tears apart, opening a massive abyss. Reacting on pure instinct, Zeke screams, "Liam, drop the bag and run, now." Before Liam can even process the command, Zeke flashes in front of him, his blade severing the heavy backpack straps in a single stroke. Zeke shouts, "Do not worry about the supplies. Liam, it is just monster blood. Watch from a safe distance. I can no longer guarantee your safety." Rising from the depths is a dungeon worm. This is a Calamity class monster that typically requires a squad of over a dozen elite purple knights to subdue. It is a creature of pure destruction. Those damn Gimmons. They certainly prepared a magnificent grave for him. When he opens his eyes again, the dungeon is gone. He is back in his dormitory ceiling. He thinks, "It seems Duke brought me back. Damn it. I was so close to success." He is truly worthy of the title Black Knight. I threw everything I had at him, yet victory remained completely out of reach. During our duel, I used the same pattern hundreds of times to lower Duke's guard, creating a split-second opening to unleash Dragon's majesty. I even utilized the Dragon Eye to strike at his vital point, but in the end, it was not enough. That final technique Duke unleashed, that must be his ultimate art. Although Zeke lost consciousness from the strain of overusing his draconic skills, His body, trained to its absolute limit, managed to perceive the essence of that ultimate move. It was a movement technique of super high speed that defies the laws of physics. It is the very secret that allowed the weak Andre to ascend as the Red Knight. Even though I failed to copy the ultimate move, the harvest from this battle is still immense. I have awakened Dragon's Majesty, a pressure so intense it can momentarily freeze even the Black Knight. Against lower level opponents, this aura alone will force them to their knees. Just then, a sharp chime echoes in his mind. An unread system message demands attention. A cascade of notifications floods his vision. His quick-step skill has evolved into sea-level high-speed movement. Because of his indomitable will, his soul ranking has increased, unlocking the ability to purchase the next tier of skills with achievement points. Following this, a treasure trove of features awaits activation: a mini-map, an inventory system, and a beginner's quest log. Overwhelmed by the sheer volume of rewards, Zeke decides to unlock the inventory feature first. It allows designated items to be stored in a dimensional space and summoned instantly with a thought. This means he can finally store his arsenal. He focuses his mind, imagining the short sword vanishing into the void. In the blink of an eye, the great sword materializes within the inventory slots. The space occupied depends on the item's size and weight. With a simple mental command, Zeke summons the great sword, and it instantly snaps into his grip. This is far superior to a magical hyperspace box, and the inventory capacity can be expanded endlessly through achievements. Such a godlike ability is merely a lower-level manager skill. Just how terrifying are the powers at the higher levels? Realizing that achievement points are too precious to waste, Zeke decides to revise his growth plan. Moments later, Decker enters the room. He reports that Duke, the courtyard manager, has left a letter for Zeke. It reads, "If you wish to challenge me again, come anytime." A smirk forms on Zeke's face. He hasn't failed yet. The door is still open. But then, Decker speaks hesitantly. "Young master, I have another message. Hold on. I managed to locate the blacksmith you asked for, but we have a serious problem. The blacksmith has rejected all appointments. He declares that he will never forge another weapon as long as he lives." Armed with memories of the future, Zeke tracked down Galleon's location and rode towards the Fafnir smithy. In his past life, this man forged the legendary Sword of Light. He was known as the Soul Blacksmith, a master capable of forging weapons that mirrored the very essence of a warrior's soul. That blade possessed the one ability Zeke desperately needed right now, the power to transmute raw ether directly into battle aura. Yet, the man before him was a wreck. How could the continent's greatest blacksmith be reduced to this pathetic state? What tragedy befell him before their destined meeting? Zeke wasted no time wondering. He grabbed a bucket of freezing water and splashed it violently across the drunkard's face. As the blacksmith sputtered, Zeke's voice cut through the air. "Are you awake now? Tell me why you refuse to take my request." Galleon's eyes widened as they locked onto Zeke's gloves. The crest of the Draker family terror instantly replaced his confusion. "Forgive me, my lord, I meant no offense, but I cannot even forge a blade for myself, let alone a weapon worthy of your station." Zeke frowned. Even the legendary Galleon had a slump like this. It was a piece of history he never knew. In the previous timeline, this man was a god among smiths, but Zeke did not have 10 years to wait for his genius to awaken. "Show me your failures," Zeke commanded. If the path wasn't clear, he would simply have to carve it out for him. Reluctantly, Galleon led him to the rear courtyard, a graveyard of discarded steel. But to Zeke's eyes, these were no scraps. Each weapon gleamed with a beauty that bordered on art. These were not failures. They were masterpieces, rivaling the very best works Galleon would create in his glorious future. Zeke's eyes glowed as he activated Dragon Eye. He scanned the metal, and the truth revealed itself. The furnace was the culprit. "You are attempting a unique alloy method," Zeke observed, "mixing metals to reduce weight while maintaining density. But the blade is brittle, and there is only one cause. Your heat treatment failed to purge the excess impurities." Galleon stared in stunned silence. This young noble had not only deciphered his secret technique, but instantly diagnosed its fatal weakness. A spark of hope ignited in the blacksmith's chest. Perhaps this boy was the answer to his prayers. "My lord, look at this," Galleon said, his trembling hands unrolling a complex blueprint. "I have a proposal." Zeke's eyes narrowed. He recognized it instantly. This was the legendary invention that would define Galleon's success 10 years from now. A magic furnace, A device capable of regulating temperature with absolute magical precision. This design is perfect for you, Zeke confirmed. Zeke. But if the blueprint is finished, why does the furnace remain unbuilt? Galleon sighed heavily. The mana drive, commissioning the magic tower to build a core would cost at least 10,000 gold coins. It was an astronomical sum. An average family could survive a month on merely 10 coins. Had it taken him a decade just to save that money, Galleon looked up, desperation in his eyes. You are a pure-blood awakener of the Draker line. If you help me build this furnace, I swear on my life to forge your weapons for free, forever. Zeke paused. Even for a pure-blood, 10,000 gold was a fortune. However, he had resources money couldn't buy. A plan formed in his mind. A mana drive, is that all? Zeke smirked. I accept your proposal. I will handle the magician. You just wait for my signal. And Galleon stopped drinking that garbage. Leaving the stunned blacksmith behind, Zeke headed straight for the Draker Academy Research Institute. The Magic Tower were extortionists, but Zeke knew a loophole. Professor Pinon's specialty was specifically mana drives. But before he could enter, a commotion in a nearby alley caught his ear. He recognized this dark corner. It was where he used to be tormented in his past life. And standing there, seething with rage, was Raven. Unprecedented golden reaction, a super awakener surpassing pure bloods. Raven spat on the ground. Don't make me laugh. He only beat me because of a cheap ambush. How could trash like him be a pure blood awakener? My. A cold voice drifted from the shadows. Raven, I see you found a new punching bag to replace me already. I'll give you 3 seconds. Kneel and kowtow. Zeke's killing intent washed over them like a tidal wave. Raven froze, cold sweat soaking his back. Damn it, just months ago he was beneath my boot. Why am I trembling? Masking his fear with anger, Raven screamed at his lackeys. What are you staring at? Crush him. Zeke sighed. He had given them a chance. He slipped past a flying fist and drove a heavy blow straight into the attacker's face. It wasn't a fight. It was an execution. Zeke moved like smoke, dismantling the group with effortless precision. In a heartbeat, the lackeys lay groaning in the dirt. Raven stepped back, his eyes bulging. Is this really the Zeke I knew? Zeke advanced slowly, his eyes devoid of mercy. Don't be afraid, Raven. The pain will only last a moment. Cornered like a rat, Raven drew his blade with shaking hands. Stay back. Come any closer and I'll kill you, I swear it. But Zeke's expression darkened, his gaze piercing. Do you understand the weight of drawing steel outside the training grounds? Raven Cunrath, you unsheathed your blade with the intent to kill. I shall answer in kind. This is no spar. It is a battle for survival. By the laws of our blood, the consequences rest solely on our own shoulders. Once the dust settles, no blame shall fall on the victor. Liam Stone, bear witness to this judgment. The color drained from Raven's face. He collapsed to his knees, his dignity shattering as he screamed, Please, spare me. I don't want to die. A memory from his past life flickered in Zeke's mind. Pathetic. Some things never changed. Slash, in a blur of motion, steel flashed. Zeke severed Raven's ear in a single stroke. Let this flesh be the price for your life today. Coldly, he delivered his final warning. If I see that ear regenerated, the next thing I take will be your head. With a swirl of his coat, Zeke walked away. Liam called out, his voice trembling. Lord Zeke, why? Why did you save me? Zeke didn't look back. Don't misunderstand. I wasn't saving you. I was merely saving myself. The scene shifts. Zeke sought out Professor Pinon for the next phase of his plan. Professor Pinon studied the blueprints. In theory, this is feasible. However, there is a critical obstacle we must address. The frame is simple enough, but the heart of this drive, the furnace core, is a nightmare. The conditions required are incredibly complex. It demands immense firepower and precise temporal control, a design without precedent. Zeke frowned. But it can be created, correct? Certainly, Pinon nodded. There are 2 paths we can take. First, I designed the drive from scratch. But calculating the core dynamics alone would consume 15 years. Zeke froze. 15 years. Pinon continued. The second path is to bypass the design phase by substituting the core with a specific catalyst. It would slash the production time. The catch, we need a high compression mana stone. Zeke's eyes widened. That is an ancient relic. Modern technology can't even manufacture that. Precisely, Pinon sighed. Rare finds from the ruins. A stone capable of supporting this furnace would cost at least 3,000 gold coins. Damn it. 15 years was impossible. If the Academy discovered he couldn't wield true aura, expulsion was certain. Yet, 3,000 gold was a fortune he didn't possess, but giving up on the Sword of Light was not an option. The world believed he was a prodigy because of the blessing ceremony. They didn't know it was a trick, a manipulation of ether and healing arts, not aura. Ether was a volatile force, historically uncontrollable by humans. Aside from the defensive shell his master taught him, he was locked out of true aura swordsmanship. Aura was versatile, stable, and superior for combat. That was why the Sword of Light was essential. It bridges the gap, but where could he possibly find a high compression mana stone? Professor Pinon murmured over the blueprints. Whoever designed this was a genius. Even among Golden Age ruins, such efficiency is legendary. Golden Age ruins? A spark ignited in Zeke's mind. Of course, the answer had been there all along. Zeke commanded, Professor, start preparing the drive housing immediately. I will return soon. Wait, Pinon stammered. You can't expect me to spend 15 years on a whim. Zeke smirked. I'm not joking. I'll bring you that high compression mana stone. His destination, the massive central library of Draker Academy. Long ago, the great hero Draker slew the evil dragon Bahamut, ushering in a century of peace known as the Golden Age. The relics found in the dragon's lair possess power far beyond modern understanding. High compression mana stones were one such artifact, batteries capable of powering an entire city, forged in the era of the Hero King. The library itself was Draker's legacy, though rarely visited now. History recorded that during a future expansion, workers would stumble upon buried Golden Age ruins beneath its foundations. In the original timeline, months of excavation had unearthed a treasure trove of ancient technology. It caused a global sensation, but that was destined to happen 10 years in the future. Zeke, however, was here, now. He arrived at the library, eyes gleaming with anticipation. Without hesitation, he activated his ultimate perception skill, Dragon Eye. The world shifted, and a hidden anomaly within the library walls revealed itself. Just as I thought, he whispered. A hollow space. Zeke focused, channeling volatile ether into his palm. He invoked the Soul God Slash, the secret technique bestowed upon him by his master. By infusing raw willpower into the ether, it sharpened into an invisible blade capable of severing anything. The cost, a massive drain on his reserves. Crash, the barrier shattered. Zeke slipped into the darkness of the underground chamber, a torch now blazing in his hand to ward off the shadows. A bone-chilling rattle echoed nearby. Skeletons, guardians of the ruins, emerged from the gloom. Their ancient weaponry proved they weren't summoned by modern magic. Scavengers, Zeke scoffed. Time to clean up. With fluid grace, he dismantled the undead warriors. Crack shatter. A system window materialized in the air, defeated 2 skeletons, gained 2 achievement points. A grin spread across his face. He had almost forgotten in this life. Even slaughtering monsters fueled his rise to power. This is a golden opportunity to farm achievement points. The scene shifts as Zeke unleashes a storm of steel, slaughtering 20 skeletons in a single breath. Just like that, his score climbs to 40 points. Without hesitation, he invests in the minimap feature. Instantly, a holographic layout of the entire dungeon projects directly into his retinas. It is no ordinary chart. He spots a specialized device nearby, one capable of rendering this flat map into a fully 3-dimensional model. Zeke's eyes light up with anticipation. The technology is incredible, but his gaze locks onto a specific area glowing an ominous blood red. Suddenly, a system window pops up with a tempting offer. Do you want guidance to the Dragon Slayer's tomb? Repository? Zeke does not hesitate. Confirm. He never expected the path to the secret inheritance to be this accessible. As he taps the button, a glowing trail illuminates the floor, marking the most efficient path forward. This is perfect. With this navigation, the fear of wandering aimlessly in the dark is gone. Moments later, Zeke stands before the heavy destination doors, but the moment he reaches out, A violent surge of magical energy blasts him backward. It is a high-level defensive ward. No wonder the magic tower mobilized their elites. Without his specialized gloves, his hands would have been disintegrated on contact. Damn it, brute force will not work here either. Desperate, he mutters. System, can you breach this seal? To his shock, the system responds instantly, shattering the defensive magic into sparks of light. Zeke stares in disbelief. Wait, you can actually understand me now. The mechanical voice replies smoothly. Of course. Do you have any other requests? He can actually converse with the interface. This is a breakthrough. He immediately probes the core mystery. Why was I able to return to the past? Silence. The system flatly refuses to answer. Zeke fires off a barrage of follow-up questions, but every single one meets a cold wall of rejection. Useless thing. Keeping the real secrets hidden. Sighing. Zeke pivots. Fine then. Can you at least open the gate? The system chirps. Certainly. With a heavy rumble, the massive doors grind open. A golden light floods the corridor, revealing rows upon rows of massive treasure chests. It is a literal sea of loot. True to their name, these boxes are overflowing with priceless artifacts. There must be hundreds of them, moving with the speed of a phantom. Zeke sweeps the entire room clean, stuffing every last chest into his inventory. Among the haul, he finds the jackpot high-compression monostones. And there are actually 4 of them. A single one of these achievements expands his inventory by 4 slots. Even with his capacity now exceeding 40 slots, it is far from sufficient. He realizes he needs to grind much harder to empty this dungeon before graduation day arrives. But just as Zeke turns to leave, the air grows heavy and cold. An ominous aura locks onto him. Before he can even twitch a muscle, a magical circle activates beneath his feet. Space warps around him, forcibly teleporting him to an unknown coordinate. Disoriented, Zeke scans his surroundings. System, report location. The voice echoes, Manager, you have arrived at the Dragon Slayer's final resting place. Zeke frowns in confusion. His knowledge of the future never contained records of a chamber filled with stone coffins. Checking the minimap, he realizes he's close to the transfer point. This is a hidden sector that went completely undiscovered in his previous life. Cautiously, Zeke pushes the lid off the nearest stone sarcophagus. Lying within is a majestic suit of armor that hums with ancient power. A system window flashes discovered Dragon Slayer's exclusive equipment. The design is archaic, completely distinct from the Golden Age aesthetics he knows. He notices a peculiar circular socket in the chest piece, waiting for a core. His eyes widen as he connects the dots. The socket matches the dimensions of the high-compression mana stones perfectly. Driven by instinct, he jams one of the stones into the armor's core without hesitation. A violent hum fills the air, rising in pitch until boom! The armor overloads and detonates, blasting a cloud of soot and dust right into Zeke's face. Coughing through the smoke, Zeke wipes his blackened face. Was the mana stone the wrong power source? Or was the output too high? What kind of monstrous energy does this gear require? He decides to shelve the mystery and interrogate Pennant about it later. Pushing forward, Zeke enters the deepest chamber. It is a vast, empty hall dominated by a solitary glass coffin in the center. As he approaches, a terrifying notification freezes his blood. Discovered Draker and Draker's legacy, the cursed heart of the Mad Dragon, Bahamut. Zeke stares in horror. That lunatic actually preserved the heart of the dragon he slew as an heirloom. So this is the source of that suffocating malice he felt earlier. Suddenly, the organ within the glass pulses violently. Reacting to his presence, a cacophony of hateful whispers invades Zeke's skull. That is right. Listen to me. Kill them. Slaughter them all. Zeke clenches his teeth, his will clashing against the intrusion. What is this madness? Get out of my head. A pitch-black aura begins to seep from the glass, corroding the very air around him. The darkness coils around Zeke like a serpent as an emergency quest flashes red. Quest Draker's Oath. Overcome the curse of Bahamut's heart. Reward ownership of Draker's legacy. But the mental assault is too heavy. Zeke's mental defenses begin to crack. The black aura swallows him whole, threatening to puppet his body. But in the depths of that abyss, Zeke's eyes flash with cold fury. Stop your whining. It is annoying. You want freedom. Freedom is something you seize with your own claws, shattering the mental shackles. Zeke smashes through the glass coffin and crushes the Mad Dragon's curse beneath his will, seizing the legacy by force. Panting heavily, Zeke slumps against the podium. That was far too close to death for comfort. I never imagined the skill would fail me at such a critical moment. Suddenly, a system window manifests, initiating the absorption of the cursed heart of the mad dragon, Bahamut. The heart erupts with the blinding, incandescent radiance. In a split second, mana of unimaginable purity floods Zeke's veins, but without an aura to contain it, the torrent has nowhere to go. It is tearing his body apart from the inside out. Damn it, think! Zeke screams internally. Desperate, he triggers the full body technique seal. He envelops the rampaging mana in ether, forcing it into the ether hall. With a thunderous boom, the seal locks into place. He has survived the impossible. As the heart vanishes, he looks down. A massive, intricate dragon mark is now branded across his chest. Was this the price of sealing that power? Suddenly, the air fills with a cascade of system notifications appearing before his eyes. The absorbed mana has mutated. Manager's constitution has evolved into the legendary celestial bone body. Detecting power exceeding manager's limits. 95% of the sealed force is compressed. You have obtained the qualification of the successor. Access granted to Drak's secret library. Initiating the beginner's task book. Preparing tutorials for lower managers. Staring at the wall of text, Zeke feels a wave of exhaustion. He decides to investigate these details later, but then something catches his eye. A prompt asks if he wishes to unseal Drak's other legacy. A mischievous grin spreads across Zeke's face. The ancestor is truly generous. He activates the second legacy, and it materializes instantly. The scene shifts as Zeke returns to his dormitory, organizing the priceless treasures he has secured. He pulls up his status window. New abilities have appeared, including the Word Soul skill, locked until he gains sufficient strength. Then, he sees his authority, dragon domination. He now holds the power to command the dragon race itself. His constitution, celestial bone body. It grants peak physical potential, accelerates martial arts mastery, and drastically improves his body's ether conductivity. Yet, reading the descriptions leaves him baffled. He recalls the barrage of windows related to Drak that exploded earlier. He commands the system, open all notifications related to Drak. A chime rings out. Alert information update required to browse Drak's secret library. Please proceed to the designated location for synchronization. A glowing marker appears on his mini-map. Zeke stares in disbelief. The location is Valhalla, the continent's premier institution for elite knight training. It is an impenetrable fortress for outsiders. Even Zeke cannot infiltrate it unnoticed, nor did he ever intend to go there. But if Drak's legacy lies within those walls, his plans must change immediately. It seems I have no choice but to remain in this wretched family a while longer. Shifting focus, he inspects the beginner's task. A window materializes, initiating tutorial simulation for lower managers. Upon completion, growth tasks will be assigned. Successful execution yields rewards. The system activates. In the blink of an eye, space warps, and Zeke is transported to a strange, alternate dimension. Was I moved again? No. The very fabric of reality here is different. Suddenly, 3 massive half-beasts materialize, surrounding him. The objective appears: beginner's task, eliminate hostile entities using at least 2 skills within 1 hour. Reward achievement points and shop access. A task perfectly suited for a novice. Yet the realism of this materialized illusion catches him off guard. Zeke moves like lightning. He evades a crushing blow, instantly activating high-speed movement and launching a barrage of continuous attacks. A blur of shadow cuts through the air, and in a heartbeat, the monsters are utterly annihilated. The massive greatsword feels weightless in his grip. Is this the terrifying potential of the celestial bone body? With this power, even a purple knight would fall before him. As the thought settles, reality shifts, and he stands back in the training field. Was it all a dream? The sensation was visceral. A notification confirms it. You have received additional critical rewards. Bonus time rewards acquired. You have received 40 points. The system shop is now open. Zeke's eyes widen. He can finally purchase items from the shop, and every single listing is rare tier or higher. He attempts to sell his gear. The system rejects the practice greatsword, but values the elven short sword at a mere 4 points. It seems the system only places value on true ancient relics. No need to sell yet. The next day, Zeke visits Professor Pennon, who stares at him in disbelief. How on earth did you find this artifact? Zeke waves it off. It is a long story. More importantly, is the drive ready? The drive is done, Penan replies. Already, Zeke asks. You are amazing. Penan narrows his eyes. You are the one who brought a mana stone? You are the truly amazing one, Penan adds, his gaze heavy with suspicion. In this world, every mana stone discovery is strictly registered in the ancient text to control ownership. The serial number reveals everything: excavation time, location, and the rightful owner. However, the mana stone Zeke produced does not exist in the official registry. Unfazed, Zeke coolly remarks, You have confirmed there are no issues with the energy. Correct. Then let us proceed. Moments later, they arrive at the smithy. The furnace core ignites with a low hum, and the magic furnace roars to life. The supervising professor quickly excuses himself, citing urgent classes to attend. Galleon is trembling with pure ecstasy. He never imagined he would see this legendary magic furnace completed in his lifetime. Seizing the moment, Zeke pulls an object from his bag and commands, Use this to forge my sword. Galleon's jaw drops in absolute shock. Is that a dragon's fang? And not just any fang, but the indestructible tooth of the cursed mad dragon. Bahamut. How could he possibly possess such a pristine artifact? Indeed, this is the second legacy left behind by the legendary Draker. Galleon's voice shakes with emotion as he stammers. You built me the furnace, and now you entrust me with a dragon's fang. I swear on my life, I will not disappoint you. This display of passion reminds Zeke of a distinct memory from his previous life. He hasn't changed a bit, Zeke thinks. I leave it in your hands. He can hardly wait to see the divine weapon that will be born from this. With the commission settled, Zeke returns to the solitude of his exclusive dormitory. His mind drifts to the unresolved bet with Duke. It has already been 1 week since Duke sent that letter demanding a rematch. There should have been a reaction by now. Suddenly, Zeke's instincts scream danger. A chilling voice cuts through the air from behind. Why did you not come to find me? Speak the truth. Zeke remains calm and replies, I had no intention of challenging you, so I simply didn't go. In the blink of an eye, Duke materializes right in front of Zeke, his pressure overwhelming. I said, tell me the truth. Before Zeke can even react, a massive force slams into him. The world spins violently as he is hurled straight through the window. Cold sweat drenches Zeke instantly. A fall from this height means instant death without healing magic. Desperately, he claws at the air, reaching for the railing. But in a split second, Duke has already intercepted him, his hand crushing around Zeke's throat. I saw through your little game long ago. You understand me, don't you? You keep delaying our duel, as if you are deliberately mocking me. Zeke freezes in shock. Did this guy realize I was playing him the entire time?